Okay. Lower that moody music. Hello, everybody. It's me, Francisco, here for Sports Goofs number 183. I'm joined by my good buddy Charles here. It's Dia de los Goofos today. We didn't do our normal Tuesday show because it was Halloween, and Charles was too busy giving out candy to the kiddos.
Charloween is a real holiday. So, you have Halloween and then you have Charloween, and it's about me going all in. And I'm sorry for those who want to see the Richard Nixon and listen to the Richard Nixon of sports podcasts. Sometimes we do sports, right? We're supposed to show everybody.
Maybe.
But I had an attire. It took precedent. I apologize. But, there's Dio de la Muerte or something like that.
Dia
What's the
de
full
los
name? I'm not.
Goofos.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember talking about it at work, and I had to go to one of my coworkers. I'm like, I'm not Mexican, man. I don't know how to explain. It's not a holiday that my people celebrate.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, and I'm not fucking one. I'm not two because I have to finish that. I'm not fucking Coco.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to. I'm doing tallies now, so I'm trying to do the tallies. I have to remember to do that. So thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, that works. But I'm not Coco, dude. If anything, I'm in Canto because I am half Colombian, and I'm not even that kind of Colombian looking, right? Because Colombians, am I right? Love the food.
Yeah,
love the food, but the women. And trust me, us men are just as bad. It's a stereotype for a reason. Damn, they're right. So anywho. So I dressed up and everything, but we're back. We're back on Dios de los Goofos.
Yes, and you had a specifically good costume this year, I think. People that should know. Who were you this year, Charles?
So I enjoy Halloween. I enjoy the costume because, where I work, I have a lot of non-lawyers. It's a hybrid. That's what I'll call it. Without giving it's obviously a nonprofit, but you get to kind of work with that energy, and I like to act goofy. That sports goofs, right?
Yeah.
And last year was Cusco, and I felt like I didn't get as much love as I wanted from the trick or treaters or anything. And then the year before that, I was Woody, which I loved. Psychological games aside, I enjoyed it. Spider-Man a couple times, but I don't know what was cool this year, and I don't want to be Spider-Man again because I know they did Across the Spider-Verse and all that stuff, and of course Spider-Man 2, which was fantastic. We'll talk about that, trust me, later. But I want to go from there, and I'm looking at some stuff, and I went to something that I need relatability. I need something that's relatable to my coworkers who are both young and old. I'm 35. I'm 34. I hate myself. I'm 34. So I'm 34. And there's things within my childhood, but I also have coworkers who are 23, 26, 50, right? And then, when I have to hand out the trick-or-treaters. So I saw someone on television. I said, yep. And I had court yesterday. I had a 3.5-hour hearing in the afternoon. So it had to be something that was really sandwiched because it's daylight saving soon. So it's been getting dark early. So the trick-or-treaters stop after a certain period of time, and you want your costume to be visible. But I looked into certain things. I'm yeah. So I saw on Nickelodeon Cosmo from Fairly Odd Parents. I looked at him yes. And I just knew. And I had already the crown. You'll laugh, but I have Burger King crowns in my car from other events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have the work attire. I have the white shirt, the black tie, the proper black tie, no colorizations, black pants. And I just took off my watch because he doesn't wear a watch. And all I had to do was buy a green wig and a wand. So that was that. So I'm going to give a shout out, I guess, to my coworkers, for it, because I had to do a work event. Your boy's pimped out too much that he likes, and he was wearing heels. And, apparently on my job's website's cover photo I am the cover photo. It's me with a megaphone. And I'm oh, this is terrible. My biceps look popping though, even though I'm actually injured, guys. But I spoke to my coworker's wife. I'm gonna say names. Nick, I spoke to your wife Amanda, and she was cool. I got real cool with him. He's newer and all that stuff. So I was BSing with him, and I keep my costume a secrecy at work because I'm a child and I want to see the reaction. I live for the reaction, right? It's that's what they get from it. And I told her, I'm I want to be Cosmo from Fairly Odd Parents. I showed her my costume because I went to a costume party 2 weeks ago and it was a hit. And she's like, oh my God, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna have him be Wanda and all that stuff. No, you're not. Sure, whatever. And I walk into the office, and first I get in 8:30, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, you're not in costume." I'm yeah, I gotta do actually my lawyer stuff first because I have a court hearing at 1:30. I'll change, but then I'm walking to go to the bathroom in his office by the bathroom, and I see this man who probably doesn't understand why his wife made him a wand, a little crown, and bought pink spray can. and had him spray his hair, and he's wearing a yellow shirt, and I'm like, yo, and I close the door real quick. I'm like, I'm Cosmo. I guess I should Wanda. And so Amanda and Nick get a shout out. So what we did was we went back to my office. So what I did was I also made like wings because, you know, he's more like insect wings. If you try to find wings, they're like fairy wings. I'm like, no, that's not Cosmo. It's we found a way, right? You've seen the costume. We found a very good way. So I come out of the office with him and I play the theme song and I'm like dancing as I'm going through the way Cosmo would dance. And I don't think it beats Woody. I loved it though. And when I was hanging out at trick or treats with the candy, like a couple people knew. But you know, my neighborhood I think some of the kids aged out, and
yeah,
it happened. But people did know, because you know, kids who are like 6 or 5, they're not gonna know. 10-year-olds might know. The 20-year-olds and then the parents, you know, the adult parents would know. So it touches all points. I'm gonna make a comment though. Parents, if your kids are still in stroller and you're going to candies and they cannot eat the candy, just give it up. You just take your Facebook photos.
Wait a couple years.
But, yeah, because we know you're hustling the candy. That's why you only get like one candy from me. And I'm like, oh my God, you're not gonna eat this.
I love how you have a system.
Oh, I have a point.
A meritocracy.
I have a point system of how much candy I hand out. And I tell my father, because I love also Halloween to hang out with the candy because it's the time I drink on a weekday. Granted, at 34, I drink. I'm having a drink right now. I don't care. But like it allows to hand out candy, drink, and watch people's stuff. So if you know, usually I give you 2. We always overbuy on the candy so I can eat the leftovers. Yeah. But usually you get 2. If I like your costume, like if it's original, it's 3. And right now, the top 3 that I got was there was a Scooby-Doo, which I loved. There was a guy a kid who made like a LED costume, but it was his own stuff. It was really cool. And then there was an adult who was like Gandalf the Grey, which is so weird. I'm like, you could take like 6 pieces of candy. I got like 2 anime weebs. I got one guy dressed as the Akatsuki from Naruto, and the other one was Kakashi. I'm like, okay, no, go ahead, take it. I don't care. But there's a lot of Spider-Mans, like little 8-year-olds. I like Spider-Man, but I'm like, come on, guys, originality. But if you compliment my costume, you get like 3 or 4 candies. If you dressed up as my costume, you get as much as I want to give you. You're not going to get Cosmos because it's original. When I was Spider-Man, they got lots more. When I was Woody, if you were in the Toy Story stuff, you get a lot. So it's very important. And so because, and we're going to go on this because it's holiday season and sports are sports right now, but we always kind of lead to this debate during this time of year anyway. Halloween, I think, is my favorite holiday because you can't really ruin it, right? You can't really ruin it. You can't. I don't care about Thanksgiving. Yeah, I guess so. Well, yeah, you either dress up or you don't dress up. You either eat candy or get candy, or you don't do anything. No one gives you flack for it, really. It is the most like innocuous holiday out there. You don't have anything, kids, kids knock on your door, you don't have any candy, they ain't gonna egg your house. Why? Because it's Florida. We'll probably shoot you, I guess. It's like, not to, right? But, Thanksgiving, everybody argues about who cooks the food. People don't make food. Remember the Thanksgiving from hell about 4 years ago when they didn't have the mashed potatoes, and I told you guys, I vented that frustration. Mm-hmm. And, it's a Hispanic household. So, yes, you can have your arroz con gandules. I don't care, really. I'm actually petitioning to get lechon for this year. I love lechon. I think everybody does, because turkey is just so dry. As deli meat, sure. Let me get some of that, in that sense. But if I can just get something of the lechon, just a suckle of it, just a bit of it, because you have a multitude of people, and you know what I hate about Thanksgiving? Everybody thinks they cook the best. I have never seen more egos in my life. And I have other reasons to hate the holiday, but I'm not gonna get like depressed about.
Do you mean by people who think they themselves cook good, or that my mama cooks good, or whatever?
Yeah. Or but like, I gotta make this. I gotta go from there, and I need it on this day, kind of thing. I gotta be the one that does it. There's some people.
So it's the ego for the people who actually make the thing. Like, I make the best gravy.
Yeah. And there's that fight to it that comes into it, because that's what led us to the mashed potato
instructions out the box.
What I do in Thanksgiving, because I don't like turkey, and truthfully, I can I like to ruin things. I'm a ruiner, and one thing that sounds like, why are we celebrating like white people killing natives? What is up with this? But what it is, right? It is ain't no dark skinned pilgrims, guys. Like, let's be honest with it here. But I kind of tell people, like, turkey. When you make turkey, like, I've had like turkey slices from like when I lived on my own, from when I used to cook, from like a pre-made. I'm like, sure, like meat or the meals, but I don't go to turkey. I'm like, I want chicken wings or something, right? Ham's fine, but you need the compliment. But everybody has the egos, and cranberry. Okay, like what? Like this? Like, oh, you get a collard greens. I'm like, okay, I can do collard greens. But what's this whole thing? Like we generate it, and there's no gifts and stuff like that, and it fights. I like Thanksgiving when it led to Black Friday, but now Black Friday just starts early. I'm like, all right, man. I just text you. I'm like, all right, we're doing this. I got this set up, and then Christmas, Hanukkah, and all the other winter holidays. It's like you have to spend money, and I'm like, it's I got to get coworker stuff. I got to get this stuff, loved ones. I got to get people I'm like on the fence with stuff like that. I gotta make up something. I gotta send the like who says Happy Thanksgiving? I'm like, I'm thankful for you. No, then you know what? No one says Happy Halloween. You don't have to send the perfunctory text.
Okay. I from an obligatory standpoint, no, you don't have to say.
You have
send
to do
Happy
it on
Halloween to
you have to do it for Christmas. You got to do it on New Year's, which New Year's is not a real holiday to me. But you got to do it for something that feels obligatory. You don't have to do it. You just let it be Halloween, and you could just you could literally say, hey, I like your costume. But I don't care about any of that stuff. And like the only thing that I like about those Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgivings, if I send the text, it's because I've been drinking, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna see what happens here, man. Like that's the fun. I need thrill, and I don't find. Men and women find the liquid courage at the holidays because everybody gets sentimental, or reinforce to tell someone that you love them too. Think about that. It's a two-way street. You got to tell someone you already love that you love them deeply, or you shoot your shot. But it is so obligatory, and holidays to me are great when they have the thrill. A costume is a good thrill to me. The thrill of Christmas is like, do they like my gift? But everybody's gonna like your gift unless they're a child.
Yeah.
Or did you get the thing? But at 34, as an attorney, I can buy whatever I want, right? Yeah, and it frustrates my family.
Tis true.
But back to Thanksgiving, and if you ask Charles, what do you bring for Thanksgiving? And you know what? Because it's Dia de los Goofos. We talk about Dia de Pavo was an episode title, which I think we should do Dia de Pavo part 2 for part 2 coming up, right? But this is the time of the year because soon, guys, we're gonna become a food show real quickly.
Yeah, it'll be that way. I honestly. There's changes that will be made once we get to 200. In any case,
when I to finish this thought, I'll let you take over. When I do Thanksgiving, because this is going to be about my current vision of what I want, I bring alcohol because my brother-in-law, nice guy, buys the trash alcohol. I am 34 years old. I cannot drink the cheap stuff. I will buy the Don Julio. I can't drink, Mazana's, tequila. I was like, oh, my stomach, fuck, going from there and all this other stuff. And then for those, right. And for people who don't drink, I will bring sweets and desserts. But this year, I'm thinking about driving to Palm Beach to go to a Cuban bakery, and I'm going to get all the good stuff that I like. Not the supposed Spanish restaurants and places that are nearby me, which aren't bad per se, but there's particular ones in Palm Beach that I want.
Yeah, well, there's a good. I mean, they're considered an Italian bakery, but they're called El Colombino, and they're like on Forest Hill or whatever, and it's near my sister's office, so that's. And we've gotten like they're breaded, long Italian bread, and it's just legit. I like it, and again they got pizza too. So you're just making me think of that right now, and I really want it, and I might have to next time I go to West Palm Beach actually.
But that's the thing, though, is because what is the thing I've loved the most when I was in Miami? And it's so weird because I was talking to my coworkers. Yeah, the core 4 of my family members, 2 of them who came from another country to here. I'm the only one who loves Hispanic food as much as I love Hispanic food. You've seen the foods I send you.
Yeah.
When I'm like in a Hispanic area, I'm like, I'm about to feast. I also love, I like Hispanic postres. I like Hispanic delicacies is what I would call it, which is so weird because Argentinians don't have any. It's just like dried. It's like dried, but it's good. I'm sorry.
The Argentinian thing is just like the steak. That's their thing,
Yeah, and then like Colombians, I'm like, like their postres are fine. It's just got to be greasy. Us Colombians, listen, man, hear me out. We would like deep fry guava pastries if we could. I'm just saying, it's true, it's honest. I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, so that's just me and my holidays, and we'll build up to my love of Halloween. What did Francisco do for Halloween? Take the reins here. I want to hear you.
I mean, I yesterday, not the only thing that I did. I went to do my workout. I didn't dress up for anything, but I did dress up in a way twice at my gym, putting on the Sonic the Hedgehog fit, which is
how people come out to you. Yeah.
Well, it's my red shoes that look like Sonic shoes that I work out with. My white long socks, got my blue shorts, blue shirts, blue headband, and I just a blue long sleeve on one of my compression sleeve.
Is that
on
the
one
that
you
arms? Sent me?
I sent you I sent you one version of that, and then I sent the other one, And then
ladies, he fire. And men, if you want to buy him a free
so
drink.
on Saturday, so I dressed up in that fit on Saturday. And so this time it was paired with an actual Sonic the Hedgehog t-shirt, the one that has Sonic and Shadow on it, the one I've shown you before.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me go. And my workout thing, I've said it before, it's like a partner workout. So it's you and this person, and we do like 20 different sets of whatever, different exercises. And so normally, like, dudes are paired up with dudes, right? Like, okay. Sometimes you get paired up with the woman and things like that. So because it doesn't really matter because you're changing the weights and everything to suit your needs. It's just a matter of the reps and stuff like that. And that's when you switch on and off. And I guess I was blessed that day because I got the tall Venezuelan chick who's like my height and she's gorgeous, and I look like Sonic the Hedgehog if he turned human, even though actually my build is more like Knuckles. Now that I'm more beefy, my build is more like Knuckles. More like Knuckles from Sonic Boom. For anybody who doesn't know, actually, I should look this up for the video version of this. Hold on, Sonic.
Yeah, you're gonna have to change your avatar. It's no longer gonna be Sonic on the mic. It's gotta be
Knuckles. Yeah. And I mean, I love Knuckles.
Ladies, I saw him in person, and gents, if you want to buy him a free drink, and I've seen the things. He's making that progress. He's getting that boxiness. I'm injured.
Yeah, and you've been suffering.
Wait another week.
You have been suffering.
It is bad. The jogging's fine, but remember, I try to take off from jogging because of my knees. But I think it's a strain. I have basically what Deshaun Watson has, and Drew. Yeah. I suspect. That's the great thing about being, an American with a computer. We think we're doctors, right? Now I understand the lawyer plight, but it's just so hard to get to a doctor.
Yeah. So that's what I look like. It's on the screen there. That's me. I just look like that now.
Yeah, actually, if with the girl that you saw, you're the Knuckles, the second row on the left. Your face like,
yeah.
Is that the one that you sent the photo of? I'm like, you need a wife her.
So yeah, I got Knuckles. No, that's the other one. No, this one's tall and whatever. But regardless, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I'll get the Knuckles set soon enough. I'll get the green socks and maybe find some shoes that kind of look like this. Or if not, I'll try and customize them. Maybe I'll get the Knuckles set for myself. But that was me. But yesterday, actual Halloween day, I was playing a little game. That's the background sound for today, and it's Alan Wake Remastered. So I did play an actual spooky game just before spooky season ended, and it's still going on. I just finished chapter 3. That was yesterday, and it just kept going. But I do get a few of those jump scares from those guys, the Taken coming out, at certain points that I don't expect them to. But I kind of greet them as, oh, all right, boys, welcome back. So like, I'm trying to play it silly, right? Oh, here we go. And it very much does feel like a 360 game. But,
it's been 14 years.
Yeah. So it
the
does.
remaster, I think, helped it with the graphic fidelity and the frame rate, but it's how they did the controls.
Yeah,
the engine is different.
I've got it at 60 frames and it's fine and everything like that. But the controls, it still feels like a 360 game. So I have to kind of revert my expectations to that. But yeah, regardless, that's what I did yesterday for Halloween. That was my thing.
You're gonna be ready for Alan Wake 2, and I'm so excited.
Indeed, that's gonna be the thing that we're getting back into the Remedy universe or whatever. So
it's
gonna be cool.
Can we give them just a shout out real quick?
Sure,
whether or not they listen to this show. I've been playing Remedy games since Max Payne. Did 1, did 2, did Alan Wake Remaster when I had COVID this year. I played it with my friends on 360, so I never played it in full. But what happens. That's what happens. But that's how we hung out together on the single players. And didn't play Quantum Break because I didn't have an Xbox at the time. Control was I think my game of the year for when it came out in 2017 when I played it. This was before I started tracking it. But I don't remember all the games I played in, but I know I loved it absolutely. It was 2018 or so when I played it. Remember, there was some times where I was a little bit delayed. I think it was 2017, and I picked it up. But it was damn good, man. Just straight up coming into it. And Alan Wake 2 just looks phenomenal. And you know I want it desperately. When we first got announced, I was sending you like the humping gifs in our chat.
Yeah.
Because I like them because they do what I think. I'm going to pause my game. They do what I think video games. Obviously, their storytelling is fantastic. Max Payne 1, Max Payne 2 was fantastic. Alan Wake itself was a different kind of story.
This is their list of games. But finish your thought before I get off the list.
Well, I mean, I played majority of those games. I didn't play Crossfire because I think there was a multiplayer, and I didn't play obviously Death Rally because it was a computer and stuff like that. But Agent of Storm, I think they published. I played their big ones besides Quantum Break, but I like YouTubed it. And it's not connected because of Microsoft and the rights, but they use video games the way I want media entertainment to be used, more than just like press this button, press that button, X, Y, Z. They really kind of immerse you in characters that you can be invested in, some interesting stories. And how they did Alan Wake 1 to me, it was just like Twin Peaks, right? And then Control was kind of like Twin Peaks. And it's weird, for a show I didn't like watch religiously, there was an aesthetic I like it because it felt like it broke through the conventions of the norm. And the reason why I give them the highlight the same way how I gave the highlight to Max Payne, because they created the bullet time shooters, or they perfected it and they did the graphic noir stuff that came into it, the comics, is because when you see the copy and paste with some games in the gaming industry, like every first person shooter known to mankind from 2007 to 2018, man, you really appreciate what they go on. And I've heard, Alan Wake is the jump scares. I have heard Alan Wake 2 is one of the best survival horror games out there. And some people say, well, if you're already using this engine for Wake 1, why don't you do, just a full remake, not a remaster? But they changed the gameplay majority. They say it's more like Control, which we both thoroughly enjoyed from it. So I'm like mega excited for it. I keep watching the trailer, and I didn't have to go as far on like blocking it from Twitter the way I did Spider-Man, because I think it is a set grounding of people. But I watched the official recap trailer.
It's very niche in comparison to any other games,
But we kind of talked about it in months then. They get my kink because they do what I kind of think Rockstar does well. Now, mind you, I'm not talking about Rockstar finding a way to make millions of dollars off the same game copied 3 times. More power to them, right? It's about Rockstar did do their own things to make individualization of the game media with Red Dead 1 and 2, Grand Theft Autos, Bully, Warriors, Max Payne 3, fantastic game. On top of some other stuff. Now, the last studios I feel do that. So you build into it. And I'm just giving them that shout out. Oh, they could be my non-sponsor, but I haven't technically played a game from them in 2-3 year because I did the Control expansions when I first got my PlayStation. So 2 years ago when I got my PS5. But I'm so ready. I was staring at it. And my problem is I don't want to play it just yet because I just played another game, which you'll hear about soon. And you need some separation, man. You just need a cool off period.
From big game to big game, right?
And that's what I hate about this time of the year, because Wonder can kind of wait first. It's not, it's going to happen. It'll be my December game. We both know it. But Wonder's the only one. Everything else I can kind of wait on, unless I really feel compelled to get the Super Mario RPG. But I think it'll be okay. But you're playing Alan Wake. What's your thoughts on it?
I mean, so
3 out of the 6 episodes in.
I mean, so far, it's. I'm glad that I didn't do the deep dive lore-wise after I had played Control, because I didn't spoil anything for myself, because I've done that with the Metal Gear series. Like I know what happens in Metal Gear Solid 2, and maybe that's why I'm not in such a hurry or to play it right now. I played the VR missions and everything like that. I've played like a ton of them now. But I haven't gotten into the story because I know what's happening in the story. I know what's going to happen. I know that you play as Raiden, and the whole thing is a big thing about Kojima talking about memes and how those affect the world and everything like that. I get the grand message that he was trying to tell with that game. So there's really nothing for me to do except just to experience it for myself. But I'll be experiencing it from a observatory's perspective, right? I'm not doing it like that.
It's what I call like the Sixth Sense situation. The ending of the Sixth Sense. It's been so long. You're told it's so great. It's the fact that what's his name has been dead. Now you just watch it for the for what the whole like basis of it is. I think that's one of those common things. Or the Casablanca. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, kid. Kind of thing, or he was a you kid, but beginning of beautiful friendship. So you get like the guts, even though the finish line.
Right. So with Alan Wake, I'm still I still have to go back and remember like everything that happened in Control and everything that had to be tied with that game and the events and everything like that.
I didn't see Control being the Alan Wake connector, and that's what I liked about Control. I'm like, man, this would really, and I remember like this would feel like the Alan Wake game that comes around, and then I play it, and then they get a certain name like, yo, and when you can get a reaction like that to call back to a different time, a different game, you get automatic perks for me on that. That's just me.
Yeah, and creating an interconnected world amongst your games that I think people were like, oh, this would feel natural. And so that just gives a plus to everybody who enjoys your world and your world building anyway. So now it kind of creates all of that, because the entire concept of Control is it's inspired by the SCP, right? You know what SCP is, right?
Yes.
So Secure, Contain, Protect. That website, which has a bunch of all these supernatural phenomena type of entries into it, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool fictional thing. You can do a deep dive of it, but Control is directly inspired by it. And so when you tie it to Alan Wake, it's like, oh, that totally makes sense to me. That this is just another one of these events in this pseudo SCP thing that Remedy is creating for themselves. And it's pretty cool that, hey, that means they can they don't have to stick with just Control and Alan Wake. They can create a new series and then tie it to these games anyways, and even indirectly. So they're not really weighing themselves down or anchoring themselves by, okay, we have to stick with this series. It's the only thing that we do. No, we can build within this one world and create all kinds of storylines and all kinds of places for ourselves. That I think the really cool thing that they do is that they don't really play with the logics of, because of it's based on all of this supernatural stuff. They don't have to completely base their stuff on anything that really makes sense, because there's going to be YouTube videos and everything that I'm going to be watching to kind of get back into it, that's going to try to explain what the heck is going on and give a reason for it, but they'll never give you the reason, because sometimes that's even better than anything else. I'm playing through, like, they have those little things from nights during Alan Wake called Night Springs, which is like a Twilight Zone homage. And if you go back to old Twilight Zone episodes, some of them do have an overarching message that Rod Serling's trying to tell you. But some of them are just like him just trying to, I'll use my first one here, fuck with your mind. And just trying to tell a messed up story in order to, I don't know, just get a rise out of people, or just be like, oh, I want to tell this story because X this. And there's no real message behind it, just then out of an entertainment factor for himself.
Isn't that human nature, that we want the answers to everything? We want everything spelled out to us, and we don't, we don't want to think about some stuff. And that's what I like about the medium, because I want thought-provoking concepts.
That's right. And sometimes it's better when you don't explain it and you just leave it as an open concept for everybody to debate about, which is, I mean, and that's another thing if you want to compare it to Metal Gear. That's why Kojima didn't want to make MGS4, because MGS4, from I've seen the play and everything like that, and the analysis of it, basically, like, they explain everything that happened in the past games.
Every game,
just to ground it someplace. But it seemed like they were over explaining it. It's the same thing like with the Star Wars prequels and stuff like that. They explain how the Force is, like, what the Force is made is all these metachlorians or whatever they call it. It's like,
metachlorians.
Yeah, there's like, why? You don't have to explain it. It's just magic. It's just things that happen. We don't have to explain everything. So
or you can just say it's mutation. It can lead to it.
But you don't have to do it. It can just be a mystery. Like, there's stuff in our own world where we don't know shit. So
for comedic effect, can I tell you what my one complaint with Control was? You're talking about supernatural characterizations. I did not see one Hispanic person.
Oh, well, they have to remember, it's just the Federal Bureau of Control. They're in the United States, so maybe they're just dealing with the stuff that's happening in the U.S. Because I bet you there's some brujeria going on in Latin American countries. You know what I mean? And plus, in Alan Wake, they were talking about Cauldron Lake and how, like, the Native Americans had, like, legends about it and stuff like that. So there is something behind that. Maybe they'll be able to have, like, a future game that'll tell a story in a setting outside of like the United States.
As I'm dick riding 3, Remedy even more. What is confirmed for future games? Because look, I'm going to encourage, like, Volition Games just got shut down. They made the Saint Road remake, which was apparently atrocious. But I'm going to support game studios if I like them. I'm sorry, it's literally what we do in the non-sponsors. So this is actually just me sponsoring sponsor. Like, if there was an Alan Wake 2 for us that we get paid for, I would not shut up about it, about Remedy itself. But they're doing a Max Payne 1 and 2 remake, and you know your boy is buying that. One Max Payne as a trilogy, even with Rockstar publishing and developing the third one, was very foundational on my mindset. I think in cinema that that's how my brain goes, and like with music and everything. So it's fine. They are going to do Control 2, and I'm like, now I really I'm salivating. I'm playing Alan Wake 2 because I want to see how we get to the present as a payoff for waiting 15 years essentially. But then, what's it going to lead to the future? I can't speak enough about them. Ooh, I love you guys. Kiss on the mouth, and they're just so good with the music selection. They use Poets of the Fall a lot, who are in Alan Wake 1 and 2 as the old gods of Asgard, because that's just like a pseudo name. But Late Goodbye playing during Max Payne 2, or Take Control. They're the ones who sing Take Control in the maze. Mouthwater.
Yeah. So that's what
sports show, everybody.
Yeah, sure, it's a sports show.
Play NHL 24. I'm gonna buy it during Black Friday. I've been thinking on it.
I haven't really been playing it. I've been playing more MLB The Show lately because
that's fine.
I'm doing Road to the Show right now, and I'm just playing with my own character and just living out the fantasy right now.
Well, let's do game analysis with sports. In the first hour, because we have apathy, as you see in our title. What's your thoughts on MLB The Show now that you have a real controller?
Oh, well, I'll talk about that later. Well, no, we already talked about MLB The Show already. I've already talked about it in the past.
Okay.
So it's fine. But we can talk about apathy in baseball and actually talk about the sports thing. Because honestly, and maybe I feel like I'm contributing to it, but man, the apathy that I feel for this World Series.
Do you know what I love about it?
I don't. And let me just say, I don't exactly have any sort of animosity towards the Texas Rangers. I don't really feel anything for them. It'd be nice. Okay, cool. They could win. I think they'll probably win their first World Series tonight. It'll be over, right? And fine. And I don't really have animosity towards the Diamondbacks. They finished with the same record as the Marlins. But even then, I honestly do feel if the Marlins were in this World Series, we'd have the same narrative. But I think it might be. I think people will actually try and tune in and watch to see if a third team from down here would lose a championship in the same season. So I think people would watch just to hate on us and see if we would lose compared to see the Diamondbacks play in this one. So I still think the Marlins would draw some more people to watch. But I don't exactly know why. I think maybe part of it for me is that despite the fact that the Texas Rangers spent a ton of money on players, and the Diamondbacks have this whatever feel good story of these guys, I still don't resonate with anybody on those teams. Like Corey Seager's on the team, okay, you got to pay a bunch of money. Marcus Semien's on the team, okay, you got a bunch of money. Jake DeGrom's on the team, he hasn't pitched since April. So Max Scherzer's on the team, but I don't feel anything for the Rangers or their players, and I don't really feel anything for the Diamondbacks. Okay, Corbin Carroll's amazing, and maybe he's the future, right? He does everything well. He runs really well. He's probably the fastest guy in baseball. He hits and everything like that. And they got Ketel Marte, who's been one of the best players secretly out there in Arizona. And Evan Longoria is the old man who might actually get something, but probably won't. I see the narratives there, but comparing them to other World Series, other, I guess, long shot or small market teams, the Kansas City Royals. That was their second season when they won, but it was the second season of a back-to-back where they actually had a really good squad. And the first season was they were facing the Dynasty Giants, and they lost to them. And the second season, they were paired up with the New York Mets team. So that, of course, is going to drive ratings. Even though ratings, honestly, for baseball doesn't really matter to them. It's just a perception standpoint more than anything else. They got their money. But with the Rangers, I'm looking at them, and I feel like they won their World Series by beating the Houston Astros. That felt like a World Series in and of itself. So by them defeating the Astros, that was the high of highs. And the Phillies losing the NLCS and choking it away was also the high of highs. So we get to this World Series, which isn't as compelling compared to the NLCS and the ALCS. The Battle of Texas was more interesting, went to 7 games, and the Diamondbacks getting the Phillies to choke in 7 games and everybody laughing at them was more exciting. And so you leave with this apathetic World Series, and that's kind of how I feel.
All I have to say is you literally validated me when we talked about the start of the World Series 2 weeks ago and what I put in the chat. Because is that not what I laid out? You're telling me Arizona has the players of the future, but you got one-hit wonders, and you're telling me Texas, and what I've been saying about Texas, I can't have them win because they literally did what we did in 2009. A good coach, above-average coach, free agent spending, there you go. It's the formula that everybody's been following. I haven't watched a bit of it. And it's because you do need narrative. You do need build. It has been projected as the least watched baseball series. And they're even lucky. I think some of those people watch this because they like Bruce Bochy and they knew what he was doing. You know what I mean? It's fine. And you know, part of the reason, and I say this with arrogance, but also assurance, we know both of those teams, neither of those teams are going to be there next year. I said Andrew tried to, and you want to know how I know Andrew has not been watching the World Series? Because he got dramatic about Garcia getting injured. I'm like, bro, have you not? They've always had hitters.
Yeah.
They've had issues with the pitching. Like, we're all there for it because it just hasn't been there. It's been blowouts, except for that game 1. Everything has been a blowout, either when the Diamondbacks won or then when Texas was putting on the scores. Like, 11-5 is not as close as you think it is. When it was 10-0 for a long time, they just took the foot off the gas.
Right.
But there's no investment. There's no caring. And Arizona's not going to be there next year. I'm saying it. I am legitimately saying it. I feel it. If I'm wrong, okay, bookmark it, and I'll buy an Arizona hat next year, right? And then with Texas, we were talking about rivalries in the group chat because what you guys don't realize is that there is some structure between Francisco and I of what we actually talk about the show. But the thing is, with sports being there's 7 days a week, things are so day-to-day that what we can talk about on a Friday loses importance come a Wednesday. Do you understand? So like what were we talking about? Like, there is actual like intelligence in this mockery of a
if
podcast.
only we had like a
so
live stream of our group chat, you know?
Yeah. And the whole thing was we were talking about it. I'm like, okay, but Houston, you know, because we were talking about Houston and Texas as rivalries in the AL and how it's just dead. And we're beating a dead horse in Boston, New York. And how we said that we don't think Houston's going to be there next year. Why? Because you have 2 starting pitchers that seem to be done. Take him to the barn. Scherzer and even DeGrom, who I like, but I would be more invested. I would watch it if DeGrom wasn't hurt. I don't care about Scherzer at this stage because he's been really bad. They brought him back too early. He should have been cleared to come back in the World Series when he was clearly injured during the ALCS. I'm not and this is the most damning thing you can say because we all love baseball collectively and as the broadcaster of the show, I'm not missing any memorable moments by not watching. Unless the Diamondbacks come back and finish it out, right? That is the one conditional, is it not? Yeah. To be on the brink either today or tomorrow, they have to really push it to the 7 because they're down 3-1 or 2-1.
I mean, it's 3-1. Like tonight's the night.
Tonight's the night. Dexter Morgan here, but that's the thing. It's like unless they pull it off, that's the only. And right now it's 0-0 on top of the first. So am I even gonna watch an elimination game? Because elimination games kind of suck when the other team seems clearly at a disadvantage. In Zona, you do play your record sometimes. Sometimes you play above your record, but sometimes there's a point in the playoffs, and we've all been there as teams. All of us getting to the postseasons. You play a record. Texas is 90-72, but it was a 1-game decision between them and their division win against loss to Houston.
Yeah, a tiebreaker. That was basically an in-division tournament between them, Houston, and Seattle. So
and Zona went 84-78. So
I mean, Arizona
played your record.
Arizona and I guess the Marlins got bailed out in some sense by the Chicago Cubs choking, but even then that would have been one spot, and Arizona actually would have lost that tiebreaker to the Marlins. So Arizona's only here because the Chicago Cubs couldn't get it done.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's literally the thing, right? It's so, and people forget that because we fall to and this is the problem with sports. All of us, all three of us, and Doug, who's an OG, all four of us love a Cinderella story, except when it's our team going against a Cinderella story. But we forget the fact that the Cinderella story is because you kind of suck at some point. You know, the Diamondbacks weren't supposed to beat the Yankees 20 years ago. So if they lost, we're like, oh man, that was a really deficient team. Or, you know, let's try to figure out a Cinderella story for.
I mean, once again, I'm reiterating this point.
2003 Marlins.
Well, no. I recant my statement. Actually, I posted that on my Marlins history account because, like,
sorry, I had to call you out on it.
Like 2 weeks, after they had eliminated the Dodgers, and they were like, okay, and then I think they got back to tying the series against the Phillies. I'm like, I think I'm feeling a little, or no, it wasn't tying with the Phillies, but it was before they faced the Phillies. But they had beaten Milwaukee and the Dodgers. I'm like, hey man, they're looking pretty good. They're getting hot. And then they beat the Phillies. I'm like, oh, okay. They beat them in 7 games. The Marlins won in 7 games. So I didn't. And then the Marlins didn't get blown out by the Yankees in the World Series in any of those games. So I'm like, yeah, never mind. Because I feel like if the Marlins had gotten blown out in any of those games, like people would have been like, yeah.
And people hate me when I say this. If I don't know more than 4 players on your team, that's not a sign of a winner.
Yeah,
it's not ignorance. We do, guys, realize we want to put this shit for bullshit. 5. We're not game streamers on Twitch. We do take pride into this. So we do our research. Well, we're broadcasting on Twitch, but we're not gamers on Twitch yet. Big changes coming. Francisco and I are figuring out ideas. Possibly. Just accept it. You like it. Look, we got a little fuck love, as they call it, 7. But you're gonna enjoy all the same. We're still the same one, baby. We're still the same ones. We the ones, baby. We just put on extra pounds and we change it up a little bit. But it is true though. If I can't name you, I can name you 4 or 5 on the Rangers. Right, because the Rangers were always kind of there, but they had to realize, damn, we suck. We can't beat Houston. Let's go spend X amount of $1 million contracts. That's why they got Seager, Simeon. They had to trade for, or they got DeGrom. They trade for Scherzer, Garcia. And Garcia, I did analysis because what did I say about Garcia? Y'all dick riding him now, 9 or 8. Because they were dick riding him 9 now appropriately because he was doing good. I brought up guys, if we could just live stream the chats. I'm a statistics person. You've seen it. I bring it up. That's how we figured out that Aaron Judge is truly a fraud and we should love Giancarlo Stanton. There's real substance here, but I can't name you. I had to invest in like who's Corbin Carroll? Keto Marte, sure, but Keto Marte just kind of reminds me of what a good like lieutenant would be on a squad, right? A second or third option to kind of bring out and keep it steady and keep it consistent. Zona, I forgot Zach Greinke. I think Zach Greinke's on that team.
No,
right? Or
no. He was that was
no. It's
ago.
Masson.
Yeah.
Is it Masson Bumgarner?
No, he's not on the team.
No.
He's being paid by the team, but he's not on the team no more.
He's not on the team.
No, he was like
that's
sent
the
away
problem.
Like in April.
That's who I'm remembering. You guys have not done the Rangers. So what did we see last week? I'm going to continue it. Playoffs is not for the diehards of that fan base. Playoffs is for how can you get the casuals to be invested. And the way you get the casuals is because they follow people. That's the beauty about fantasy sports, because you find people that you want to know about in that fandom and support it. Have you ever done a fantasy, whatever, baseball, football, hockey, anything like that?
Well, I've done football.
Yourself? Yeah. So do you find yourself watching players on a team that you don't support, so you get to know the people around?
I'm the best barometer for this.
No, but there's a logic though, because sometimes who you draft in a fantasy game, we'll use football because the easiest example. If I pick a receiver on the Dolphins, like I know who's throwing the Dolphins. Okay, I feel like Tua will throw. Fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
If you care about your fantasy team, yes, you will be keeping watch of X team, despite the fact they may not be on your favorite team. You will be and the same thing with gambling, of course. You're going to be keeping
Well,
watch.
what are we
X
trying to
team
also
players.
get to?
Well,
you see, there's a bigger. I'm a smart man, dude. I always plan it.
Oh yeah,
I'm giving you the way right now.
I mean, sheesh,
Chill.
2 or 3
Chill to
weeks.
them.
2 or 3
Chill
weeks.
to them.
I do.
Chill to them.
I will post Hard Rock bets because you've tagged me on several things about the Marlins and post that I was not expecting you guys to tag me. So that means you guys know about me before I knew about you. I'm telling you all.
You're legitimately doing the "we fucking are not" commentary right there.
I'm telling you all. I will shill. I will shill as much as you want. I don't know nothing about gambling, but I will give what I think which teams will play. I will I will put your website on any of my posts about X Marlin who played on the 2006 team or what have you. Like, I will do that. I will do that right now. I will do it for like $10 a post. That's how cheap my rates are. I'm telling you. Alrighty.
Back to our regularly scheduled program.
I am a whore, but at least I'm not a Colombian whore.
God, I feel insulted by that.
That's for.
Is it? Would you consider?
Is whore is that not a curse word, or is it like on the border of like?
I think because we use it as like a term of endearment. I don't. Friends
you
do it
use whore
sometimes.
as a term of endearment.
I have a lot of good female friends who bust my chops, lesbian and straight, and we talk crap to each other.
In any case, whatever. I'll keep the count at 4 anyways. Where are we at? Oh yeah, baseball.
World Series is boring.
Sure. All right. That's the too long did not read version of it. TLDR.
Dusty retired.
Yeah, Dusty Baker retired. That's fine. He got his ring. That's cool and everything. And sure, that's fine.
Bob Melvin's over with the Giants, which I find funny.
Yeah. I mean, he's from that area, so I kind of whatever. And then Craig Counsell's being recruited by like everybody right now. He's doing interviews. I'm surprised he's leaving Milwaukee, to be honest.
Well, his contract's expiring, and they don't want to pay him cash.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because he's actually going to try and command actual money because teams have been going cheap on managers lately, and he's like an up and comer.
Milwaukee has like no to my knowledge, and this is I don't know enough about Milwaukee except for the fact that they had the former Marlin Christian Yelich, who used to be just a banger of a player, man. Now he's just he's still above average, which is great for baseball. The juice balls
helped him, so
yeah, the juice balls have helped him. So that's why. Do I think Craig Counsell had I known Craig Counsell was actually going to leave Milwaukee, I would have preferred him over what I have with Aaron Boone. There's so much I can say, but you know what? We're not there yet. Yeah, I'm not talking about him.
All right,
I'm over him.
Fine, it's fine. But yeah, that's kind of the other news that's going on in the outside, and I don't know what the Marlins are doing with this whole GM search.
I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting on AL MV or AL Cy Young.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my Cy Young job.
The side job, baby. Yeah,
they should have announced it already, though. Don't they do some of those?
No, they do it after the postseason. Yeah, it's like in November or something, after like Thanksgiving or something like that.
Well, technically, it's not. Yeah, I'm just waiting for that. And you guys know, I will not shut the hell up. I'm telling you guys right now, I will not shut the hell up. Francisco knows I will not shut the hell up. I put a prediction. It was documented and then redocumented. I have never been that close on a statistic in my life.
Yeah,
this was it. I just knew it.
You absolutely nailed it, and we had the receipts and everything.
And this is after like 3 seasons. Like I felt it because pitching is so weird.
It wasn't just a blind take. You actually you saw it. You thought about it. You used both your heart and your mind to get to that prediction.
I was on point with the wins. I was 1 win differential off to what I had predicted for the Cole job for the Cy Young.
Well, that's because he got the over. He went above and beyond your expectations. Yeah. Just for
and that's factoring in no decisions. Which, if you add in decisions, it's 20 wins essentially. Man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm proud of that. Yeah, because baseball is a very hard sport.
Just throw out random numbers out there, yeah.
And I did it to the T. Because you want to know why?
Awesome.
because I am the ultimate Cole fan base.
Yeah.
And like I am that guy. Like I want his jersey, but we have the rule that we can't do it. But
He needs the
we've
ring.
we've never had the pitcher like that. Mariano was a relief pitcher. I don't count Pettit as the guy. You know how I feel.
Clemens is the last guy that was like that.
I like Clemens. I'm sorry. I know business people.
Hey, he's very pleasant on social media. I don't know if you've seen his his Twitter account. He's very wholesome. He's like, hey guys, what do you think about baseballs? I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, like the color and stuff. Like he'll post stuff like that. Like, or something happens. It's like, what do you think about Game 1 of the World Series? And it's like, why are you making me like you?
and I know I'm going to say like two sacrilegious things. One, like Mussina got into the Hall of Fame largely because of the body work of being a Yankee, but
regular season
Mussina is my Hall of Very Good. And then I love CC Sabathia. You know this. Remember when he retired and I had like tears in my eyes?
Well, CC I think is a Hall of Famer. So
absolutely.
I've already gone on the dive solo for that one.
But I feel like Cole's level of what he's been pitching 2 out of the 3 years he's been with us is very different than the level that what CC was doing.
Yeah, CC accumulated his stats because he was, despite being a big dude, he was healthy for the most part. Just, right at the end, but even then, he's an older pitcher by that point, right? It was what it was. But he accumulated his stuff. He was just consistent.
He got me my ring.
But Garrett Cole right now, and actually not just now. He was with it with Houston. He was with it with Pittsburgh. Is just on a superstar level Hall of Fame trajectory.
It's God tier.
Yeah, like he's dominant. Like Randy Johnson or Roger Clemens or just those guys. That's a different niche of pitchers where
it's
the elite.
It's prime Scherzer,
like
prime DeGrom.
Like CC was elite for like those 2 or 3 years when he was in Milwaukee, like when he got that Cy Young in Cleveland, right? Then he went to Milwaukee, and those first 2 or 3 years with the Yankees.
About 3 years, and then the injuries came.
That was like the 5-year window where he was just the best of the best of the pitchers. But he wasn't, except for the 2008 season when he got to Milwaukee. That was like an insane run. But overall, just this body of work, Garrett Cole, I can't even deny that, man.
I got a chub just this whole thing just happily erect.
Baseball. We're talking about baseball. Anyways, we're at 53 minutes. So hold on. What was the other thing I wrote down here? I'll talk about this because it's a downer, and I'll talk about it before we get to the other stuff. Yeah. So
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, it's a hockey thing. It didn't happen in the NHL, but it's something that reverberated across the entire hockey world. Unfortunately, I think his name was Adam Johnson, died playing in the UK's professional hockey league. Unfortunately, he received a skate to the neck by one player, Pat Graves, and it was just a freak accident. I'm going to go out there and say it right now just to get ahead of it, because there's a bunch of people making a whole bunch of shit, and I'm going to add that's my 5th one, and I'm going to use it anyways because it really is trying to push certain narratives, trying to make something out of something because they want it to be malicious just to have a reason to make it malicious, or they're fucking racist because the player that happened to, unfortunately, it's 6. I've got the tally going.
Okay.
Because unfortunately, the player that had accidentally cut this man's neck is a black Canadian player, an African Canadian player. So that's what some people are pushing there, making it seem like it was malicious, making it seem like he willingly roundhouse kicked the man's neck. And I finally saw the video yesterday because I didn't have the heart to see it until I was looking at other narratives and people talking, and just like, let me see just the impact, because people don't show the aftermath, so that's good. Some people who are posting it on Twitter don't show the aftermath, just show the direct impact, and then it stops there. And it's a freak play, man. It's a freak play. It's just physics that, unfortunately, it happened the way it did.
I have not watched it, so I will not probably watch it.
Yeah, no, you don't have to watch it. But as a hockey analyst, I wanted to see it, and I wanted to see, like, I skate, right? And so people were commenting, don't know shit. And
7 now.
Yeah. And people don't realize how easy it is for you to fly off the handles at times when you don't get an edge, or when you lose your edge. So when you're skating, you're of course skating on a blade of metal, and it's flat, but it has the sides on the ends, and you have an inside edge, you have an outside edge, and you transfer in between with your body weight and everything like that, and that's how you move around on the ice. And it looked like this guy lost his edge because he hit another player, and then with the speed of the game, you're flying out there, and if you lose an edge, you completely fly off the handle. I mean, you can think of all kinds of other scenarios. We could see that in other sports, or just, you've seen like these wild car accidents, and you're like, how did that car just fly 100 feet or whatever? It happens when you have speed. Speed can just make things happen that seems like that'd be impossible, but with the physics and everything and momentum and inertia, that just happens. And so,
yeah, for those who went to the schools in the Bible Belts, not everything is an act of God, guys.
Yeah,
there's the science.
I watched Bill Nye the Science Guy on PBS. So it's unfortunately it brought this guy's legs up, and there are some people who've been posting other examples of this in the NHL, of just guys that have been just fly, and their bodies are just in the air, or their limbs are in the air, and it's not an impossibility for that to happen. I find it very difficult for someone to willingly roundhouse kick a person on the ice. I really do. It's not an easy thing to do. The things that figure skaters do, that's very hard to do when you're trying to focus on the game and you got other guys around you. But you can fly into that with a hit, or you lose an edge. And unfortunately, that's what happened. And it happened in the most unfortunate place. And
I mean, you get the same thing too in any boxing. You get it in football. Like those impact or those situations, you can't control the world, guys.
Right, and not everything is intentional or malicious on anybody's part. Yes, hockey is a rough and tumble game, and emotions get the best out of a lot of people. Panthers just had Charlie McAvoy for the Bruins, just got a 4-game suspension for elbowing Oliver Ekman-Larsson in the face when they played against the Panthers most recently. But that was completely intentional, and you could see it from the beginning. But this common sense, reasonable people will see it as just a freak accident that just unfortunately led to this. And it's happened before. It happened to a Panthers player in 2008 who got cut in the neck, and he fortunately was didn't get to that artery, right? And so he was able to survive, but he lost like 3 or 4 pints of blood. Like, he lost a ton. So and he was able to play the next season, recover enough for that. I mean, hockey players are insane, but unfortunately that didn't happen. The guy's artery did get cut, and it was too late. So that's what happened. And we'll see what happens in the future with regards to safety. Sometimes things like this happen.
But it was a non-NHL game, right?
It was a non-NHL game, but sometimes things happen across the hockey world that you do have to take notice. I think the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, some players or some guys on the Providence Bruins I'm not sure, one or the other. Or some, there's some players that have looked at it and they're like, okay, there are neck guards. You can wear a neck guard that's, tough but flexible, and they're getting better at them than compared to, decades past, right? So maybe it basically just looks like you're wearing a turtleneck underneath. So it's not an impossible thing to maybe mandate in the future, because the NHL does this. They didn't have helmets before. Then they added helmets and it became mandatory. And then they didn't have visors before. Then visors became mandatory because a player, Taylor Hall, got hit in the face during warm-ups. And then they mandated that all players from here on out have to wear visors. So it's an incremental thing. Things happen. Same thing happens in every other sport. Safety eventually. But sometimes you can't predict freak shit like this. So that it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate thing that happened, and I hope the family of the deceased are okay. I hope the player Petgraves and his family are also doing well, because I can't imagine the grief that he's going through with all this. So it's just unfortunate. Oh man! So I got that low thing out the way. And it leads right into word for our non-sponsors and people, places, things, concepts, what have you. We've been enjoying over the last week. So, Charles, I will go first. Mm-hmm. So we already talked about Alan Wake, already talked about Sonic. I haven't started Mario yet, but we'll get there eventually. I think it's cool. It's good that I had the cooldown between Sonic and using Alan Wake instead, because it's a palate cleanser, right?
Yeah, it's a palate cleanser. I would say
it'd be too samey if I went from Sonic to Mario, I think. So that's fine. But in the meantime, Charles, you found me a good deal, as you are always wanting.
That's what I'm here for, baby.
Yeah, you found me a good deal about a week or so ago on an Xbox controller, because I've been talking to you about it. I'm like, hey. The Elite controller that I have is the older Elite version. It doesn't work with a lot of things. It doesn't even have Bluetooth. That's its own thing. And you have to buy an adapter and things like that. I can't use it on my TV when I play like the rental Luna games and stuff like that. So, okay. And you found a deal on Walmart for a white Xbox controller, a current one, a Series X one. It was $40. I'm like, oh man, that's a really good deal for a first party controller. Mm-hmm. Sure. All right, I'll take it. So I bought it. I'm like, and all right, the Series X controller, it's a fine controller. It's much lighter than the Elite controller that I have, which I like. The Elite controller is hefty, right? I could kill a large rat with the Elite controller. But it
really is, yeah.
The Series X controller, it's light. It's it feels durable too. And I'm like, okay, cool. But wasn't really feeling the default look for it. I'm like, I don't know.
He's not a basic bitch, 11.
Yeah. So I was like, well, maybe I want to do a little something. And I was feeling the controller, and the Xbox Series X controller has you can't really see it on the design, and I'm showing it on the screen here for the people who are listening to the audio version of it. But it's got a like a flat face. It looks like a very basic looking controller, but it's well crafted. But on the bottom, in the back of it, on the sides and in the back of the controller, instead of like a rubberized grip like you get on the Elite controller, or just like plain flat plastic you'll get like on the Switch controller. I don't know what the PS5 controller feels like, Charles. I don't know if he has like rubbery grips or anything like that.
Ah, man, there's a joke I want to make. You ever hold your own penis? That's what it feels like sometimes, because it's just perfect.
Okay, but I'm talking about the texture. The texture of it.
Statement stands.
Okay. Feels like thick skin. Fine.
I just think of Letterkenny.
14. I was thinking of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, actually.
Well, because the for me, it's the auctioneer, Dixon, or he goes Dixon. It's like Dixon.
So I'm like, it has like these tiny little bumps as instead of like rubberized grips. I'm like, I just didn't like the way they feel. Like, I don't know. I'm sure they're fine, and I would probably get used to them, but I'm like, I don't know about this. So I go, and I'm like, well, I've solved this problem for myself in the past. And so I went on over to, this is the second time I'm shouting these people out, but just because their shit's good.
Or non-sponsors doesn't have
10.
to be, it doesn't have to be on, everything new every week.
There's no limit to it. There's no limit to it, but it's ExtremeRate. So ExtremeRate, that's my non-sponsor. I'm like, I'm sure they have a solution for my problem. So I look and I'm like, well, I remember my Elite controller. They had these things called Soft Touch. I didn't buy it. I just bought a clear one, but I'm like, I was wondering, what does the Soft Touch feel like? How does that how is that supposed to go? And I'm like, okay, fine. Let me go. And I was like, okay, they had the side rails, which is the back of the controller on the side. And I'm like, well, you can buy a Soft Touch side rail in white, which would match my controller. I'm like, cool, I'll buy that. And then I was looking, and I'm like, well, they got these themed controllers, shells, and I was like, I could just buy another one of those while I'm at it. I'm here already. I'm customizing it. I already bought the controller for $40, and I have like $15 in Amazon credit. I'm like, I could just spend it on that. And I've done the customization thing before with my Switch and my Joy-Cons. So I'm like, okay, let me go and buy it. Let me find something. I'm like, when my Xbox controller has always felt like the evolution of the Dreamcast controller. And I had a Dreamcast controller, Charles. I had a green Dreamcast controller, the see-through green that we used to have way back in the day. I'm like, all right, let me buy one of those. Let me create a modern homage to my old Dreamcast controller. And so I did, Charles. And they have a purple version of it. Here's the gradient for that one. And
I like that white Power Ranger one looking over there.
Yeah, they have certain themes that kind of they're not licensed with some stuff, but they'll kind of sort of look like certain things. But I'm like, okay, let me get this, and I got this one, but in green. So the entire front looks green. The back has white with the Soft Touch controller. It doesn't look exactly like the Dreamcast controller, but I feel like it's an evolution of it. And I wasn't sure that it would pop, but it pops. I've shown it to you. I love this controller. I love what they do with these things. It's fantastic. I'm romantically in love with my controller now. I've been trying to game. Like, I was playing with Alan Wake yesterday. I'm just looking down at it. I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. Oh, it's so great to see it on my hands. And
my comment earlier about controller feel seems appropriate.
Yeah. And the Soft Touch solved my problem. Because
really relevant.
Yeah, the Soft Touch solved my problem because it does feel like a soft touch. I don't know what that material is made out of, but my hands, the palms of my hands specifically, because that's where they rest on. Oh man, it is like holding my dick actually. 11. It's great. It feels so good. And I gotta hand it to them. They solved my issue. I might have gone harder with the customization, where I'm like, I'll hold it back. I think it looks good right now. I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to be like a certain pop singer from the 90s and 2000s that kind of OD'd on something and overdo it. Anyways,
man, there's so many different ones. That's not even fair. You're not being even on the nose.
Promo code no, I don't want to use that.
Soft touch.
Let's go soft touch. I don't want to go too vulgar with it. 11. I'm at 11.
All right. So
I surpassed you actually with. Oh no, I tied you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It's not a race. It's not whatever. But it's just funny.
It's about to get dirty here.
Oh, here we go. I know where we're going.
Yeah. Let me put the game on pause because this is some stuff. So I don't like to give ratings out until I beat games. games. That's how I'm always going to start this. And to get the non-sponsorship, when I've had a gaming year of not every game I beat was of the non-sponsor. I know Zelda was a non-sponsor when we came back. I believe Yakuza 0 was, if I'm not mistaken. I think Midnight Suns was. I gave love to Resident Evil 4. Did not give love to Resident Evil 3. You know, Resident Evil 3 is fine, but No More Heroes, I don't think got one from me. It got like my appreciation from Suda, but going from there. I can't even recall if Dead Space got it. I enjoyed Dead Space, but I think we had a segment speaking about it. When we were talking about the gaming. And this is how I'm just gonna build it. Francisco has got a background. I am the nerdy kid from Queens. Just like Peter Parker, I love Spider-Man. I read the comics. I'm not as religious as some other people are, but it just comes from there. And it was interesting that when my first Spider-Man game was Spider-Man the Animated Series on the Sega Genesis. And it was hard because a lot of Genesis games were just hard to begin with. And I've always kind of been there. I've been Spider-Man for Christmas, or not Christmas. I probably have been for Christmas. I've been there for Halloween. I've seen the movies, all of them. I've seen the animated movies as well, which Into the Spider-Verse. I didn't see Across the Spider-Verse yet. I have reasons why I haven't seen it. I don't know if I'll ever see it, to be fair with you. We'll see. We'll see how I deal with that portion. But there's a connection there. I like Peter Parker as a human being. I like Spider-Man as a construct, and I like the duality and then just trying to do the right thing and then losing. You win and save the city, but you lose in life. And depending how you read your comics, I'm happy with him getting the happy ending. I'm not crazy too much about the Spider-Man multiverse, but it works. So we played Marvel's Spider-Man a couple years ago, and I was like a year behind, man, or at least 6 months, and I didn't realize it because I had been just such fatigue and disappointment coming with these video game license of comic book or movies, but it turned out being fantastic. And then we played Miles, and we had Spider-Man 2 that came out October 20th, and your boy in August birthday month redid and replayed 1 and Miles, not doing the DLC. Don't need to do DLC, but what everything did right in 1 and then Miles DLC came into that one. And we know the mallegation. So I got it October 20th. I have beaten it. It has been beaten after 10 days. And I told Francisco, and I'm raising my voice because I'm annoyed with myself. I said, because I'm a professional, that it is going to take 30 days. I thought it was going to take a month. And I was wrong. Why? Because when you have great games, not kind of good, average, or pretty good, yeah, it's fine. When you have great games, amazing games, spectacular games, superior games, all the ultimate games, all the Spider-Man lingo. I even played Ultimate Spider-Man that came out on the GameCube, which wasn't bad. You got to play as both Venom and Spider-Man. When you play excellent games, amazing games, superb games, you don't put down the controller. Your game sessions go from obligatory 2 to 3 hours of being an attorney and you're tired to like, I'm awake, we're doing this. We're doing it live. And that happened on a couple of days on the weekends, man, and even during the work week. So I played it 34 hours in, and I love it. I love it. I was concerned. I was scared. I saw GameSpot and IGN. I trust GameSpot a little bit more than IGN these days. Not that IGN's bad. Gave it an 8. I'm like, ooh. And other people were giving it like 9s or 10s of the reviewers, but sometimes it's being a slave of the moment. I was like, oh, no, let's not do that, Daddy. We can't do that. And the first 2 games, I gave a 9. And so, like, I just need to be in the 9 threshold. So we got to do it, and it's a mallegation. It is Insomniac who has done what? Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart, which I believe I non-sponsored. Well, surprise, surprise, right? It was their imagination of both Kraven's Last Hunt and the symbiote suit, which was done in Secret Wars, but has so many allegations because yes, there's Kraven, yes, there's Venom, yes, there's other stuff. The return of Harry Osborn, all these things that kind of build into it. And man, I was in it to win it. It was such a good game. The gameplay is fluid. It ran at a perfect 120 FPS because, Ramona does it, and Ramona is the road to all things. I would not get a PS5 if it wasn't for Ramona. Last year around this time, it was for God of War. This year around this time, it was for Spider-Man. But you pick up after Miles Morales' storyline, the continuation of number 1, which I won't spoil for those who haven't played it, because there's still some people like Francisco or Andrew who have not done so yet. But
still have to
for
get on
combat,
PC. Yeah.
Yeah, the combat is excellent. The graphics are great. The gameplay is intuitive. The side missions are not a waste. There's a payoff more so to what the third game will do versus what's going on to. I won't agree with my buddy Houdini called it a 10 out of 10. We'll talk about the rating in a second, but it was engaging. It was emotional. The first act is very slow. It takes about 5-6 hours to kind of get there. When we get to act two is when things come up. That final 5 hour, man. And I sent you clips of it when we finally do get to Venom. Boner inducing.
I'm a
There was
bust.
I'm a boss. I'm gonna tell you guys right now. For me, and my friend got to the scene where I was, there was not enough ejaculate left. I don't know if that's gonna count as a curse word, if it's a scientific term. I was shooting out baby powder at that point, because those final 5 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours was just the thrill ride of what they took me to get there with the emotion, the connectivity, and it's what I wanted, what I needed. They did it right. It stuck the landing and had the emotion, because that was a thing about why I liked X-Men when it wasn't getting ridiculous. And then why I liked Spider-Man to a degree, Daredevil, is the comics and the stories kind of get you that emotion. Not does it tug at your strings, but you feel a full circle come in with the emotions. It does everything right. I think it does Craven right. If you know Craven, it does Venom the way they have to do Venom for the layer of the story. I know some people, doesn't know people. They do Peter properly because, as you know from the trailers, he has the black symbiote suit. They do Miles very well. I like Miles into it. MJ's fine. I didn't have a moment where I'm really like, okay, I'm bored. I'm just like, I just need you to kind of take me there. Just guide me. The first 5 hours, so 34 hours into it, I was going back and forth because my heart says a 9, my penis says 9.5, because games are also about thrill seeking you. Whereas I was harping about Remedy, how they're my kind of entertainment, my media, and how they kind of do media itself and the platform's sake, not platform as a console, but using it as a platform. I do also want to play games that engage me and get the blood rushing. But I'm going to settle at a 9 because I think when I replay this game in about 2 or 3 years, I'm just going to do the story. I think the side missions were good, but the way you do the structure, it's kind of tough of how you do side missions. Because I was doing side missions to max out Peter and Miles. You get to play as both of them, and you do get to play as some other special characters. I will not say, because, man, I sent you the clip. Because it's not really a spoiler. They're in it, but, man, wasn't that great? Wasn't that fantastic? And you saw how, I don't know if you watched the videos I sent to your PS3 account for the PS app, but, it was just enjoyable. I think because my problem with the first game was I liked where the story was going, and then it kind of I don't want to say it didn't stick landing. It stuck it very emotionally, but it was a bait and switch that understood why they went to the bait and switch, but I was wanting them to go something more freeform. It's stylistic choices. It's like, do you go for the hard cam on the left or hard cam on the right? Right. Where this one is that once they got going, the story is where you wanted to go. My concern is I think you did so much with this that I don't know how to do 3. And are we going to have an Arkham Knight situation? Because Arkham Knight situation, when it came to the story, you're like, if it wasn't for you played Arkham Knight, right?
How do you close out this trilogy?
Yeah, we know how they're going to do it, but did you? Because it kind of follows kind of the same patterns of how 1 did it and 2 did it. I think you gotta go vastly to 3. I think you need more grounded level because you have the symbiote. Venom's coming. Intergalactic play. How do you ground it out? It doesn't work. And the best way to do is just you make it to the motions. There are some post-scene credits, as I would advise anybody listening there. So watch the mid-credit scene and then watch the post-credit scene. Nothing to me that was life-changing the way my buddy was describing it to me. I think he just hopped on the Kool-Aid. I kept the black suit for the majority of the game. Once I had it, it looked sleek. It felt good. I grew up on 1995, 96, Spider-Man the Animated Series. I loved it. It was very rewarding. It did not give me the soft touch. It gave me the full hard ride. You know what I mean? So Spider-Man 2, PlayStation 5, loved it. Even with its controversies about not using the right flags, which was funny in our group chat for who we are, what we know. Good story, good graphics, good combat, good gameplay. It's more of the same, sure, but that's not a bad thing because you want to know why? You want in life consistently consistent. We talk about wanting a change in life, but when something derails you, you're like, damn, I should have thought better. And it is a thrill ride. It is not boring. I did not put the controller down. I stayed through all of it going from then. I loved it. And so I'm going to go for 9. My penis wants to go 9.5. I'm going with a 9. And, I advise everybody get it because there's not really any big other PS5 games are coming out aside from Alan Wake, but like solo publishing or single party studios, first party publishers. Promo code. Oh man, there's so heal the world. How about that? Because it's a running play.
Alrighty. Yeah. I do have to get to the series on PC at some point. So, because eventually this will come out for PC, maybe next year or something. I feel like that it won't be exclusive to PS5 for long, so they can get that money. So yeah, we'll see. But it looks, you devoured that game.
Yeah, and I hate myself. I said 30. I told you 30 days. I was like 30 days because that's how I remember how long it was. But I'm not playing multiplayers, and the fact that when it's that damn good, you just sit down, you just do it. And I 100% it. I didn't platinum it or like 5 away according to my email. I don't know if I platinumed the original or the remastered of the Spider-Man on the PS5 because there was only a few things left. But I'll just come back to the story. But hey, we did it. We did it, guys. But it was thoroughly enjoyable. And those games make a difference because the other game that came into it where I devoured and I sat down and played, Zelda, where you put in the 5-6 hours, like shit. And then, so I guess we'll call it 12 the break even because I kind of cut it off and I brewed into it. And then Resident Evil 4, do I think I gave Resident Evil 4 9.5, but I think Spider-Man's better. Part of it is because I played Resident Evil 4 before. Even though they changed some things stylistically, I didn't play it. I know it was coming. I didn't expect it. I had suspicions, and that's my also kind of pseudo complaint about it. Where the story is going to take you, but you're relying on the human emotion, the human connection of those characters to get you there. But a lot of it that you've seen if you watch the main trailer, you know where it's going. There's some things like, oh, snap. But, and that's not a bad thing sometimes. It's not a bad thing.
Okay. All right, we're at 121. What else did I have here on this list? Charles, once again, the apathy for basketball is also pretty low. We aren't supposed to care about the Heat until January.
That's the rule. We've been saying that for like 3 years at this point.
I mean, the only thing that will maybe get some curiosity is this in-season tournament I keep hearing about, but I don't know. We'll see how strong apathy is versus, that. But James Harden got what he wanted, Charles. And he is in LA with the Clippers now, with the 2015 All-Star team. We'll see what happens there, if any of them are going to be healthy enough.
Not just that, but quick comments on that. Contract-wise, from what I read, all of them are free agents after the season.
Yeah. Which could be a boon.
Is a dangerous game.
I mean, it could be a boon for the Clippers because if it goes horribly wrong, they can just reset. And they're opening a new arena, I think, next year. So it's a perfect time to reset.
Well, you re-sign only one of them. And you know what funny part is? I never thought in my life I would say it. Out of all those, the only one that you re-sign, you could do two if one's reason, but the only one that you re-sign on potential is Paul George. Because he's like the most consistently consistent of the bad problems that are there. You don't do Harden because he's going to still be thinking he's a $50 million man.
Right.
You don't do Kawhi because obviously you don't do Kawhi. I don't need to explain to you. He is the Terrell Davis of basketball. Plain and simple. That is how I'm calling him. I understand Terrell didn't go to other teams, but I'm talking about the usage and success and the importance of what he did to those championships. That's my comparison. Okay. Short careers. Kawhi has objectively a short career because you take into effect how long he's been out on certain times, man. And then maybe you re-sign Russ if he's going to take like the $15 million money. Okay. All I'm saying. But out of all people, I would just say Paul. I'm like, all right, because Paul's at least consistently consistent of like kind of getting you there, and then he just gets hurt. But it's like, somebody else is going to sign. You need a face of the franchise. Terrence Mann is decent, but some people were talking about the trade and say the Sixers got fleeced. You guys got to realize nobody was going to give you what you thought they were going to give for Harden.
Right.
And
no leverage whatsoever. Yeah.
I just find it funny, and a lot of memes have been taken into on the Twitter is about PJ Tucker is just always going where Harden goes. And it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't know who's really legitimate in the West to even call it this early because it's too early of a trade. And I don't know if it changes anything foundational. What I think it does, what I think is going to be the funniest thing is that someone's going on the bench, man. Just saying, be ready. And I would laugh if Harden has moments playing with the second unit because he does act as a point guard as well. We'll just see it, but I don't care enough about the Clippers, nor do I care enough about Philly to even get there. Philly to me is like it doesn't It doesn't get me to take my pants off. You know what I mean? When it comes
Mm-hmm.
to what they have right now. Yes, Tyrese Maxey's playing great. Okay, that's fine. Joel Embiid is assumingly going to do good again. Just don't give him like a fake MVP because that should have gone to
Jokic.
homeboy Jokic last year. We all said it objectively,
Mm-hmm.
but this doesn't matter. Philly obviously doesn't look good, but they're going to run that through Maxey and Embiid anyway. And then the Clippers, okay, congratulations, you're 7 instead of 8 on the seeding. Fantastic.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's the only real NBA news aside from everybody going crazy for Wembanyama, as well.
Yeah. I have one thing to add on.
Yeah.
Not on Wemby, but you say that's the only thing crazy going on.
What's the other crazy thing? Because it's James Harden, and
it's not
Joe Cronin ruining
the crazy. Well, there you go. It's the crazy, but not crazy on the stats, but crazy. I hate Joe.
DeAndre Ayton's not good, and
yeah. And then every time I see him in the Milwaukee's attire, remember what was taken from me.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tyler's doing good.
The Heat
Tyler's doing fine.
Yeah, the Heat lost to Milwaukee, lost to Boston.
It's 3 games, exactly, guys.
Yeah,
we still have to figure out. Gabe Vincent sucks on the Lakers, which makes me laugh.
That is true. Was he averaging like 2 points or 3 points a game or something?
Yeah, Max Struss not doing good. The downfall of Trae Young is interesting to me because he has not been doing good either. But this is too early to care about, and that's why they're going to the in-season tournament to find investment. But it goes back to, you want all the sports where you're young because you can go and get drunk at the bar. But when you're in your 30s and you're like, I could just be playing Zelda or Spider-Man, you want shorter seasons. But I don't, my whole thing of the NBA is I'm just kind of like, who's getting fired? That's it.
Yeah. That's true.
You don't get a lot of mid-firing seasons. Oh, yeah, it's going to lead us to the petty train.
And that's a perfect lead up, actually, because we're at 126. As far as hockey is concerned, aside from what I had talked about, season started, and yeah. I mean, you're having some good, nice surprises. The Detroit Red Wings are having a nice start this season. Maybe this is the final. They're actually going to take the step, but it's early. In hockey, the same thing happens as in baseball. Just early things happen, and look, teams doing well like this, if they get a bunch of points at the beginning, the first quarter of the season, maybe a team like Detroit, who I didn't predict to make the playoffs, maybe that's enough. If they do take the step that they're supposed to take, maybe it's enough for them to sneak in. But so far, the Boston Bruins have done well, the same thing they did last season, but how much good of it is going to do later on? That's all. And I think teams are where they're supposed to be at. They're feeling around. The Panthers are 9 points in 8 games. Fine. The Lightning, same thing, 11 in 9 games. Toronto, the same thing. Toronto's not doing world beaters right now, so it's fine with those 3 teams that are supposed to compete against Boston. But some okay starts for Ottawa and Buffalo. And then the Metro Division, New York Rangers are coming out hot, looking pretty good. The Carolina Hurricanes, the same thing. The Devils, they're doing all right. The Islanders, so that's going to be a fun division to see those top teams. But real disappointment right now are the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've only got 6 points in 9 games, and they are the, on average, oldest team in the league right now. And signing those guys, bringing Erik Karlsson and just keeping those guys together, we'll see if they've got enough to push them through. I don't know. Maybe it is time to change guards at some point for Pittsburgh. They're going to have to, unless they want to do what the Capitals are doing, where they're kind of right there. But it's very clear they're going to keep Ovi playing just so he can get that record. And as far as the West is concerned, yeah, Colorado's doing fine. Dallas is doing fine. Those teams are supposed to do well. The Coyotes are, got 8 points in 8 games. They've they're we'll see what happens.
That's good though, right? I mean,
the 500 is all right in hockey because it's such a small margin with the teams. Like, you don't see NBA because it's 82 games, just like the NBA.
Yeah.
You don't see teams win 60 games like you don't see seasons like the Boston Bruins. It's very rare. Very rare for teams to win 50 games. So you're gonna win 40 to 49 games. Maybe you'll have some 50-game winners, but there's probably gonna be like 2 or 3 of them. That's it. Like in the NBA, teams hit 60. Teams hit 58, 59 routinely. That's routine, but in the NHL, that's very rare. So You hover around 500 going to the trade deadline, you might have a shot. You might have a shot. And the Vegas Golden Knights are awesome and amazing, and I'm jealous. That's the other side of it. And the San Jose Sharks are terrible, awful, just god awful. They haven't won a game. So they went through the entire month of October. They lost 9 games. They're 0-9, or they're 0-8-1. Really, they lost 1 game in overtime. But yeah, the Sharks are. This is the ultimate tank. It's the Shark Tank, and it's pretty glorious actually. And Connor Bedard is doing well for the Chicago Blackhawks right now.
So what's the evaluation of a rookie
But they're in
doing
last
good
place.
aside from that?
As far as what?
What's the evaluation of what makes him doing good for being a first round pick?
I mean, if he's, just essentially just making good points per game type.
Because
of
he's
thing.
more
like,
viewed as a scorer, not a defenseman, or so he's gonna be scores or assists, right?
Yes, he's a forward. Let me see his actual numbers right now, but he's had some highlight reel plays.
Analyzing.
He's had some highlight reel plays, and remember, he's 18 years old. That's the other thing. So if he's making some plays here, can I bring this up? Hold on, let me just search for it right here. Connor, I'm doing this on my phone. I don't want to look it up on the computer right now. I could, I probably should, but there we go. Connor Bedard. This thing should know what I'm talking about. Come on. I swear, iPhone. What are you doing? Okay. All right, Connor Bedard. So far, go to Hockey Reference right now. So far, he is in 9 games played. He's got 6 points. He's got 4 goals and 2 assists. Rookie seasons, there are some, yes, highlight reel rookies like Teemu Selanne who will score I think he scored 60 goals or something in his first season in the NHL. Sometimes you get some of that. But other times, if those guys can hit 30 goals, that's amazing. I'm just going to compare him to the last phenom, which is our boy Connor McDavid. Connor McJesus. His rookie season, he was 19 years old, played in 45 games. He got injured, but in those 45 games, he scored 48 points. So that's a point per game. So if you can be around there, that's really good. You're a really good player. That means you contribute, at least score a goal or contribute to a goal every single game. He scored 16 goals in 45 games played, but then got healthy, comes in his second season and plays all 82 games, scores 30 points, gets 100 points, 30 goals and gets 100 points, and then 41 goals, 41, 34, now 64. So if Connor Bedard can be a point per game player his first season, that's a huge W for the Blackhawks. So we'll see. He's 3 points under. It's the first 9 games. He's got 6 points already. I mean, that's pretty damn good for a rookie who's 18 years old playing in the NHL with a bunch of big, giant, burly dudes. Because remember, he's gonna fill out eventually. He's gonna fill out. He's gonna become a man.
We got that man body that comes into play. It's what we say about college basketball kids going into, their full body. Whereas, every college football player looks like a man in my eyes, like Jesus.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's an hour 33. We're gonna head on over to Petty Train Charles. I got nothing more to say. I don't know nothing about college football.
The U is not back. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. I don't know nothing about college football. I don't know what was going down. I don't know the discourse. The only discourse is what? Central Michigan and Michigan cheating or whatever. That's the only thing that I've been seeing.
Yeah, that's it.
We don't have our guru here, so I don't know what exactly is happening. So apparently some guy was like Bobby Valentine in disguise. I'm not sure.
So my friend just got to a certain scene in Spider-Man that I was like, I'm gonna bust. So he just texted me.
Okay.
He's like, I'm gonna bust.
That's
the secondary title of this episode.
Baby.
Yeah, it's great. Remember,
that's what we gotta do. Alan Wake 2 at the same time, and Yakuza, because eventually we're gonna do that at the tag team. All right, so Petty Train, let's do it. It's still nothing in the World Series right now. And yeah, well, I mean, let's start with this game right here. Hold on. Reset. Gosh darn it. Trying to get the scores up. There we go. There's the reset. All right. NFL scores. Thank you. Gosh darn it. There it is. Okay. So we're in week 8, right? Yes, week 8. Mm-hmm. And I want to start with the last game that to be played, which was the Raiders and the Lions, Charles. I just want to start with this right now. Detroit wins 26-14.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Goff, 272, touchdown, interception. Jimmy G, 10 for 21, 126 yards, 1 interception. And this loss was bad enough for the Las Vegas Raiders to start cleaning house because McDaniels is gone and their GM is gone too.
Oh, hire McDaniels.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean,
no, it was both. It was both. The GM and McDaniels are both gone. So.
But sometimes what happens is the GM will stay, but then they realize ain't nobody knows what the hell they're doing.
Well, that's because they gave McDaniels like a 4-year extension or something, right? So
yeah. And then I saw a stat where they're still playing Gruden, and they have to pay McDaniels' contract. Yep. And in NFL world, coaches are guaranteed, so they're paying like $90 or $100+ million for two coaches who never did anything for them at all. So I'm like, and this is why I don't feel bad for the Raiders. I was texting my friend because I felt like Bisaccia should have had it after the John Gruden stuff. I think he earned it. They got to the playoffs, but it's like Mark Davis is legitimately an idiot.
Yes.
Plain and simple. He hires Gruden because he wanted to get, he had this fanboyism, hires McDaniels for whatever reason. No one said McDaniels was going to do anything great. There was a reason why he was a coach in Denver for only a season and a half. And then, was bad juju when he reneged from the Colts, when they had it before they went to go hire Frank Reich. I just don't understand. I like Jimmy G because I think I'm just like, I understand. I will never have the franchise quarterback. Maybe. Right. Hold on that for a second.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have to work with what you have, sometimes above average is fine. And I just don't know if it's the fact that like Jimmy G's bad and the offense is bad under McDaniels or of all people. And then their interim is going to be Antonio Pierce. I'm like, the guy who was like basically a dog, like he'll kill you. It's great. Like you'll get some real motivation and people who will not mess with their head coach because I don't think anyone took McDaniels seriously. On the flip side of it, good for the Lions, who used to be the team that would just hire on mediocrity and just put like whatever in place to there's some consistency. Yes, it was an easy win. It was an easy win, but you're supposed to win the ones that you're supposed to have. Jahmyr Gibbs had like 150 yards. Jared Goff was not awful. They got some concerns on the wide receivers because Amon St. Brown has just kind of Amon-Ra St. Brown, whatever the hell the name is, has not been Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yes, has not been doing I think great things come back from injury. But Jameson Williams, who was a draft pick, a first rounder, I think pick 18 last year, is not doing great too. But hey, you know what? Take it. One game at a time sometimes is okay, even if you have playoff expectations, because it seems like it's going to be an easy coast for them getting to the playoffs. So good for them.
Yeah, good for Detroit. Everybody's don't really see many people hating on them. How can you hate on the Lions, man?
Yeah.
How can you hate on the Lions? All right, let's get back to the beginning. The Bills beat the Bucks in Thursday Night Football.
That's all I can say. I watched part of it. I
all
did
right.
because Thursday Night Football. I'm like, sure.
All right.
But yeah.
Okay. The White Bread Bowl.
Yes.
So the Jets beat the Giants in overtime, thanks to Zach Wilson's fourth quarter drive. I guess you could call it a drive to get a field goal.
More like you call it like the defense wants to win so much kind of drive.
Okay. Tyrod Taylor, 4 for 7.
Hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt. So I don't know why they didn't switch this up, but regardless, Saquon Barkley with 128 yards. Zach Wilson, 240 yards, a touchdown. He's got a winning record.
but he went like 50% throwing.
It's still, it was enough, Charles, enough to get that fourth quarter drive right at the end of the regulation to get them within field goal range. You know, it was just enough.
And the problem is that they didn't beef up anything because they missed the trade deadline. You should trade Dalvin Cook. I would have thrown.
Trade deadline's weird, man. They put it right in the like. This is it should be like the other sports where it's like 2/3 of the way through the season, not like
part of it
halfway through.
Part of it's because it's the complexity of the thing. So that's why I don't take trades seriously, even with Washington. So not Washington because if you're going on for Montez Sweat and then Chase Young, but like on those position things. So I thought, yeah, right. It's great. I thought
Chase Young memes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. The Charlie Brown one, I think I sent you guys, like you're the okay one, but like for a lot of offensive players were to be quarterback, running back, and whatever, you're not going to get so immediate. But I thought Dalvin Cook was going to Minnesota. That's what I'm saying, because he's on a 1-year deal. But I think it's because, Kirk Cousins got hurt. But yeah. So good for the White Bread. Good for, Zach Wilson. I'm rooting for you, buddy.
Alrighty. Okay, so there's that game. Next one is going down the list is let's see. Jaguars beat the Steelers.
Yeah. I think everybody's urinating tree had some comments that I won't put on air here about which quarterbacks to put in. I don't know if you read them, but he's over Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. The Eagles beat the Commanders, Washington, 38-31.
Yeah, I mean, the Commanders had it, but Ron Rivera is always good for just, looking good on paper, and then all of a sudden something bad happens.
Alrighty. The Cowboys spanked the Rams 43-20.
Stafford has an injured thumb. Mm-hmm. Barry McCockiner brought up the fact that Stafford is basically going to be like the best losing quarterback overall record to have a Super Bowl, and this is true.
Yeah. The Vikings beat the Packers, so the Packers don't have a quarterback, I guess.
Well, maybe not. Maybe it's just Matt LaFleur doesn't know what he's doing. Because the question is, do they have wide receivers? What's Christian Watkins doing? What's Romeo Dubes doing? What's going on with your tight ends? Is it time to just say Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon aren't there? They trade Rasul Douglas to Buffalo, and there's growing pains. Aaron Rodgers did not have a above 500 record in his first season. He went 6-10. That's how good I am. I remember the hate from the beginning to emphasize it. It's a first year as a starter gig, guys. Give it time because you weren't getting it anyway. Come across the Vikings, I feel bad for Kirk Cousins. I like Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. He's out Achilles and everything like that. It's but I don't know. Is this his final year? Also, wasn't it?
It's his final year of that contract, but they're going to resign them because what now?
But now? I don't know. Would Minnesota reset given the way the season has gone? I'm not sure.
You can't reset with Justin Jefferson and now Jordan Addison, who looks to be worth the first round pick as well, the receiver.
Okay. The Saints beat the Colts 38-27.
Yeah, thankfully. I needed the Colts. I needed somebody in my division to lose.
Yeah. Well, the Texans lost to Carolina. So.
We're gonna build that.
Mm-hmm. The Seahawks beat the Browns.
Yay! And look at what happened. I think they have first place in the West. Just saying, Charles Thomas is true.
Yeah, Seattle's looking pretty good. San Francisco loses to Cincinnati. Everybody's questioning. Mr. Purdy may not be very Purdy anymore.
Well, so I'm going to go on a little bit of a harder digest on this. This is the fault of not just the Purdy, but all they traded for was really for defensive help, but you had a glaring need on offense when both you had CMC can only do so much. You have Brandon Ayuk doing stuff, but Deebo Samuel's hurt. What does stop you to try to get a flyer on the receiver and just kind of like integrate that in there? Because really what happens is, yes, McCaffrey can catch stuff out of the backfield, and there's Kittle when he can be efficient. But when guys are injured on the offense, your defense is fine, but then you're trading for, like, I think they went for Montez Sweat, or they went for Chase. I think they went for Chase Young. you already got another guy from a different team on the defensive line going on. I forgot a couple of weeks ago. You didn't think to say, hey, let's just add another receiver and see what happens, because I don't know anybody else. And mind you, you might not need him. You might say, hey, Kittle, Ayuk, CMC, and Debo when he's healthy. But do you want to win your wild card? You want to get a wild card? Or do you want to win your division, probably the number one overall seed, and get the bye? And I think it's a simple answer. It would have cost you probably nothing to try to get certain people in there. But, what the hell do I know? It's not bad, but they're so used on like, hey, let's use this cheap Brock Purdy contract on defensive players, where I think they disregard, maybe getting some more depth on offense, because, having Debo Samuel would helped out. But if you didn't have anybody else helping you out with it, well, then I think it might be a problem going from there. And I'm just going to bring up who their other receivers are just for referential purposes, because I feel like I'm compelled to. But it is concerning because, there was me saying, let's not count the Seahawks. They seem like a kind of complete team. Not sexy, but they seem like a complete team. But their pass catchers for this game were George Kittle, Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, Ray McLeod, who I remember being a kick returner, and Elijah Mitchell, which is a running back. Am I right? I'm right. It's okay. But Purdy's also not doing good either.
All righty. Okay, so we got the Broncos beat the Chiefs 24-9.
So I have two friends who are Broncos fans, and I'm like, Mahomes has a flip. Like, no, we're sick of it. Stop making excuses for him. I'm like, okay, fine. What do you want me to say? That they're offensively inept as well? Taylor Swift wasn't there. What do you want? You're still 3-5, and your quarterback, yes, he threw 3 touchdowns, threw for 114 yards only. And this is why you have to look at optics as a whole. Like, if I brought up Russell Wilson's stats right now, he is 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Sounds great, right? But when you look at those games, a lot of those touchdowns are garbage time touchdowns and 114 yards. We're in a new era, and if I'm not getting over 200 yards a game, I'm going to be kind of concerned. And he's had those kind of games. And I don't know if this is an attack on Russ or on Sean Payton. You know how I feel about both of them. But let me give you some yardage from Russ Wilson the last couple games. 114 with 3 touchdowns this game. Last week's win against Green Bay, 194 yards with 1 touchdown. Against Kansas City a couple weeks ago, 95 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Against the Jets, 196 yards and 2 touchdowns. And when they beat the Bears, barely 31-28, 223 yards and 3 touchdowns. I can't give it all to that. I'm just saying that's just me. It's just the mindset. And the running game was bad. But let's throw some shade at the Chiefs. You paid a lot on your defense. You paid some stuff for the offense. You didn't build, because I don't know if Pacheco's still the guy. I don't know to be a running back. We don't know what's going on with your wide receivers, and Travis Kelce can only do so much. The man needs a Pedialyte. Get him up, get him going. But you have a lot of guys who are just potential based, and it was just a bad game. But here's the thing about football: worry about the last games of the year that you lose if you're in contention, not still kind of roughly in a season where games are now just starting to matter.
Yeah. All right. The Ravens beat the Cardinals 31-24.
Yeah. John Harbaugh hurt us. He heard us. He heard the chat. In our chat, we're always like, why does John Harbaugh hate Lamar Jackson and just doesn't want to win? And now it's happening. 6-2, feeling that confidence. Lamar did not throw well either. 157 yards and 1 touchdown, but it's more or less how Harbaugh coaches his team. Generally, it makes bad mistakes. I'm surprised he didn't go for a 2-point conversion, but we're like, Odell sucks. There we go. They overpaid for a guy who had no catches on 4 targets. Just saying.
Yeah.
It's okay to say that now.
And the Arizona Cardinals are a terrible organization, because there's some things coming out right now as to what's going on the inside of that organization. And when you draft a Call of Duty player, you push out this guy. It's just it's snowballing right now for Arizona. Ooh.
It's not even the Call of Duty player. This is the one time I'll defend Kyler. It's just like
he's not even part of it. He's not even in here. So
this is just Bidwell being an asshole. 13, 14,
13. Alrighty. The Chargers beat the Bears. The Bears are terrible.
No, I said it last week. I'm gonna say it this week. I'm just not believing in Justin Herbert anymore. It's over. It's done. All right. There was just a lot of potential. I'm not gonna fall back in love with you, handsome, just because you beat a good team
or a bad team. But maybe it's a good team to get your groove back, right? Maybe this is
Oh,
the start.
so we have next generation Matt Stafford, where he's a great quarterback on a
Phillip
crappy
Rivers.
team that never gets to win anything in the playoffs. No, at least Phillip Rivers went to the playoffs
That
multiple
he
times.
went. Well, Herbert went to the playoffs once,
Once.
right? There you go.
I'm
So
going
that's one.
once.
There you go. The Chargers.
Philip went many times and went
Chargers will get
far,
some,
and
yes.
sometimes.
Okay. The Dolphins beat the Patriots. It changes nothing with my narrative whatsoever. The Dolphins haven't beaten anybody. And now they're going to go to Germany. They're already in Germany. I didn't know they were playing the Chiefs in Germany, but they got a bye week this coming week. So they'll have 2 weeks that they'll, get used to the jet lag or whatever in Germany. I don't know if the Chiefs are in a bye week. It's on the score crawl at some point. It'll pop up there at some point. But, hopefully Mahomes gets healthy enough and then recovers from whatever sickness he's got. And he can play, because it'll continue to push my narrative that the Dolphins haven't beaten anybody. And they still haven't. And we'll see, because if they lose to the Chiefs, it'll push my narrative.
They play this weekend.
I thought this was a bye week. Or is it the week
Sunday,
next week?
Sunday, November 5th.
November 5th. Okay, maybe I was mistaken with the bye week over next week, I guess. But
Happens.
regardless, so that means Mahomes has to get better in the next couple days. All right, well, if he's sick, then it'll still push my narrative that they haven't beaten anybody healthy. All right, and you faced our favorite low-brained individual, Charles.
Oh, let me put my phone down. I'm ready for this. Because I have
I watched
things
the Dolphins
to talk
game,
about.
by the way. I did watch it. I did see how they were able to push against the Patriots. It was still within a score, but then the fourth quarter happened. I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah, the Patriots are the Patriots. Mac Jones is a white bread quarterback. We get it. But it still didn't change any of my narrative. I did watch the whole game, though, because a hater has to hate properly. But yes, you face our favorite low-brained individual, Charles.
There is dueling storylines in this game of investment. One, the attack that we've been doing on Desmond Ridder, who is probably a great human being, but it goes back to my time in Cincy when they were saying this guy was like a third-round draft pick, presumed starter. I was like, I didn't see it, and I say that very narrative. We created low brain. He has a T-shirt for it. He was making low-brained decisions. It was also Ryan Tannehill was out. It was the start of the Will Levis.
Era?
In the new era? We're gonna talk about that in a
Charles
second.
wants to buy some Levi's.
Oh yeah, real testicle tight tuggins, pants right there. I haven't worn Levi's since 2001. That's because my testicles hadn't descended yet, I think, and now I wouldn't do it, man. No, thank you. I feel like the Yosemite Sam skit in Family Guy. Also, Arthur Smith was our former offensive coordinator that led us to the AFC Championship, so it's his chance to go against us, and it went better than what I expected. The Homelander gif of perfect, because this game was the do or die. I think we would have sold the farm if we lost to the Falcons, which I've gone for weeks saying that they're not that good. Will Levis showed up, man, and yes, it was because DeAndre Hopkins carried him a lot. There was no handy, but Derrick Henry did what he had to do in that game of 101 yards.
People were talking about it, man. People were talking about
we're going to give it to him. Let's just give it
There was no Henry handy, right? He didn't get the touchdown. He got 100 yards.
Yeah, but we got the win. He was good. He's coming in. He's like the fifth. He's fifth in the league rushing. Levis threw 4 touchdowns, deep bombs, and I appreciate Tannehill. I'm never gonna say a bad word about him. I don't think I have, even when he wasn't doing that great.
I don't even
but
think Dolphins fans have bad things to say about him. But yeah,
it's more Joe Philbin if anything, right? But it's just Tannehill just can't make that throw. And for Malik Willis's purpose is he has no ball control, ball security. It's only year one, and he didn't even play a full season, so it's the Jalen Hurts logic. But my thing with Levis was I knew we were going for a quarterback. The minute it was opportunity, I just did not want Levis or any quarterback in the first round. First round picks are so valuable. When it came to the second round, I'm I'm fine with it. Fine, whatever. I don't hate it. If you really think Willis is not the guy, then you just keep him on a backup contract and you just see what you got going on there, right? Because we don't want to be in a situation where you have Tommy DeVito like the Giants were, right? Having to be your quarterback. And you don't want to be in the position the New York Jets were in the quarterback position where you lost faith in Zach Wilson after Aaron Rodgers went down. But I was watching those throws by Levis and, he was just throwing it deep and Hopkins was blowing up. And I love Hopkins. We all love Hopkins for it. And the offense, we haven't had 28 points in 3 years. and the offense looked good, and the defense was just destructive. I got a little scared because Taylor Heineke was doing good, and I like Taylor Heineke, actually. I'm glad that, big reveal. Lowbrain's now been benched. Taylor Heineke is now the starter. So I feel right. This was the game where I was cumulatively right about a lot of stuff. It was, and we play Pittsburgh tomorrow. We're going to see what he plays against real defense, right?
Static, Charles.
Oh, sorry. Did I touch something? Yeah, I probably touched something. Better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
got excited, man. You're excited.
Yeah, I channeled my mutant powers. But leave us after one game. This is fine. And I think it's just time to, if he wins against Pittsburgh of all teams with TJ Watt and all the other guys is there, I think it is time just to give the keys, because Tannehill's done after this year, unless he wants to take a backup contract. But I think Tannehill could be a low fringe starter elsewhere. So let him have that opportunity. He can clearly go to, man, I mean, you could put him in San Fran if you don't want to do Sam Darnold because Darnold's on a 1-year contract to give Purdy some competition. If Purdy does go to hell, if you're not going to go with Kirk Cousins, which I think the Vikings go with, Tannehill could probably go as a fringe guy. He's 35, 36. It's a safe factor. He's basically just kind of Alex Smithing it is how I would equate it. In the end, Kerry Collins. Yeah, sure. Well, no, I wouldn't even say Kerry Collins because no one wanted Kerry Collins but us when we got Kerry Collins. Okay. You can put him, and I had the team in my brain. You could put him in. It was going and then left because we were talking all that trash. But you can put him in other teams. I think you can get in that fringe shot for a year or two. The Andy Dalton rule actually is what it is. Where you can kind of put him into these little highlights. Oh, Washington. If you find Sam Howell. If you don't know what,
because Sam Howell actually went, so
yeah, exactly. Well, I know Sam Howell's doing decent statistically, but then he disappears at times. That's the whole thing about a free agent fringe star quarterback is like if you can just get you're looking for the elevator.
Could be the next Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He could be the next Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I was thoroughly happy, and then the fact that Ritter now got benched for somebody who's arguably better because Heineke was fine in Washington. They just didn't want him for whatever reason. They want Powell, and whether or not it's the right decision, I couldn't tell you. But yeah, I'm interested. I want to see what this takes me.
Yeah. Okay. It's gonna be It's a new day. It's a new day. Well, we're at 156. I think that's it for the petty train, right? Yeah, I think we got everything. So yeah. So let's get ready for the cage, Charles.
All right, welcome everybody. Your weekly Truplex, The Cage with Charles. Remember, wrestling is not fake. It's scripted. It's stage fight. It's a song and dance. It's poetry in motion. It is, just men and women beating the holy hell out of each other. Chasing championships, trying to establish their legacy. And it is pay-per-view weekend. So we're just going to, for the sake of brevity, because right now we're still kind of in what I consider the boring spot of wrestling, even though there's like 3 pay-per-views this month with Crown Jewel, which is this weekend, Saturday at 1:30. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, I will watch it. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it in the middle of my Saturday. You know what I mean? There might be other things I have to do, or I might be asleep. There's Survivor Series later this month, and then there's also Full Gear that's going to happen for AEW. But we're going to just keep the cage short. What you need to know about AEW, building Full Gear, MJF, doing stuff, titles, defenses, Samoa Joe's great. We love everybody. Okay, fine, happy dandy stuff. Right now, Dynamite's playing, but I'm going to keep the cage short just because I'm trying to channel my energies, right? Because I don't want to go too long into the section. And also, I can dedicate, to AEW by the pay-per-view. So we're just really going to go to NXT, and then we're going to go to WWE for Crown Jewel. So NXT last night was Halloween Havoc. The highlights I'm going to tell you guys about it is that Creed brothers, who now been called up onto Raw, I hope it's permanent, but they have been doing some good work. They had a trick or treat match, or street fight, whatever the hell they call it. Everything is a street fight when it's no DQ, right? Against the Los Lotharios, Humberto Carrillo, and Angel Garza. Very good, very enjoyable, very, very exciting. There was a couple of matches I didn't get to see because I was handing out candy, but also they had the third match of Dragunov versus Mello, which I still think the first match is the best one. Second match was very good where Dragunov beat Mello for the title, and they had a rematch going from there. It was good. Trick Williams, who had been injured, who was Mello's boy, because when wrestling is a soap opera, because Trick may have been attacked a couple weeks ago by his own boys, so by Mello, so Trick doesn't get into a title shot. Jealousy? Ooh, get me in on that. Match was good, ends with Dragunov retaining and then getting attacked by Baron Corbin. They're saying the storylines. Let's get to the meat and potatoes here. Crown Jewels this weekend on Peacock. It's a little fresh shot into the arm. We're going to do our predictions and matches and going from there, and if I'm invested or I'm not invested. First match that we'll kind of go into, Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, not invested at all. I thought they were going to – the Judgment Day has go home heat. I've told you about this. Every time I see him, I change the channel. Cody's slowly coming back, but it seems like they're stalling for time to get to, April when him and Roman Part 2 happen. I thought, they were going to probably maybe put the Money in the Bank contract on the line. You can get something engaging out of it, but this really just kind of feels like a prelude to have war games of Team Cody versus Team Judgment Day at Survivor Series, and I just don't want that. I don't care. I might not even watch Survivor Series. That's going to happen. I am that petty towards it because when you have go home heat, it's a channel changer. That's what it means. We don't want you here. What are you doing here? All the potential in Judgment Day, except for JD McDonough, who I'm not a big fan of, but he just doesn't resonate to me. They could be doing better things. And that's the problem when you have factions. If you feel that other people could be doing better things, it's going to be better things. So Cody wins, of course, because Priest can't look strong, even though he won the Money in the Bank, and they have to have dissension and blah, 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 blah. Kickoff show is going to have Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough, part of Judgment Day, not, Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn, which maybe makes sense, right? Or, Sami Zayn versus Dominic Mysterio, who's been long established. We can get the new person. Fine. What Sammy wins, I think you give it to that one. I don't care. United States Championship, Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul should be fun. Logan Paul's kind of delivered in most of his matches. I like Rey. Rey should lose a title. Logan Paul should have it up until Royal Rumble when he goes against LA Knight, because LA Knight has the main event. We'll talk about that in a second. Paul could be good for business. The IC title is the main mid card. USL is another mid card on SmackDown, but it's just there, but you got to get eyes on the prize. And you know what? If Logan wins a mid-card title, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. Plain and simple. Let Logan win. Unless someone costs him to build a feud. Who knows? Women's Championship, Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. This is kind of like not a rematch, but kind of a rematch. Because remember, Io Sky had the Money in the Bank contract. She cashed in on Bianca Belair at SummerSlam, won the title. Bianca was off TV for a while. Now she comes back. They're going to have a feud. I feel Io wins. I would not be surprised if Bianca retains. The thing is, I need storyline determinatives out of this. Because if Bianca wins, for whatever reason, I need her not to feud with Damage Control like she did the last time she won the main title going against Bayley, and then you would add Io. You got to give me someone new, man. You can't recycle storylines. If you have Io win, it's time to break up Damage Control and have Bayley want to challenge the title. Why? Because I need some personal drama. I need some personal effect comes into it. It's not a workhorse belt yet, even though Io and Asuka had a great match a couple weeks ago. I just need something more out of it. That's just me, but it doesn't have to always be what I want. But I like to get what I can. John Cena, Solo Sikoa, good match that should be on the table. I'm thinking Cena does beat Solo, but if Solo wins, this is like Solo's first singles title since being, it's not singles title, I'm sorry, singles pay-per-view match since being on the main roster. But this is also going to be the storyline is that Cena has not won a singles match in more than 2,000 days. Seems like a long time, but consider the fact that Cena's not even on part-time. He's seasonal at this point, right? That's the way I'll go. Part-time indicates that he's there for multiple times of the year. This current run he has been, but other times he's not. So I think they give it to Cena so he could break the spell. And if Cena's still on the contract, you can give me a rematch of the Royal Rumble. Or not. Yeah, shit, I'll take it at the Rumble 15. Or I'll take it at Survivor Series, whatever you want to do. Women's five-way match for the Women's World Championship. Remember, SmackDown has a WWE Women's Championship. Raw has the Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley is going against Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Raquel Rodriguez, Zoe Stark. I think it's good because the idea is that there's an eye on the prize. It's more than just a one-to-one feud. One-to-one feuds are great. That's how you want to build storylines, but the idea is that also a championship should be anyone's gunning for it. You have to have competitive interest. Think of it as a, if you guys have ever played Halo, just think of it kill whoever has Hunter or whatever it is. I forgot the name of the game. Sorry, people, don't yell at me. It's been a long time since I played Halo. I actually just liked now I forget the name. Big Team Battle was always great. Along with something ball. There was something ball. It'll come back to me because I don't plan these segments of the show. So it's but it'll come back to me. My buddy actually, him and I years ago played against guys who did the Major League Gaming, and they actually, they request us. You guys are good. You could be a standby. Griff ball. Love Griff ball. He came to me. Rhea Ripley wins because Judgment Day has to win, and then they'll build a real feud. I just don't know who that real feud's going to be. I feel like they're going to lead to Rhea versus Raquel properly because there was interference when they first wrestled on a Raw, but we'll see. Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, World Heavyweight Championship. I have liked the story. Drew is now engaging to me because there was a time where I didn't want Drew as my champion. He's not a villain yet. He's more of an anti-hero because this whole thing is like, why are you guys booing me? I'm right. How he feels about Jey Uso, how he feels about the bloodline. Steph's telling him to get over it, but Drew's like, I can't go over it because I was about to win the title and I got screwed over all those years ago, like a year ago, right? And then you haven't had that realization, but it's a good story. Maybe you get some hints of cashing in. My problem, Francisco and team that's listening, guys and gals, is I felt that Steph should not have had the title this long. I felt that Steph should have won it from AJ at the last time they did, when they did the inauguration of the title for the World Heavyweight Championship against AJ. I felt like Steph should have had it, and I felt like Steph should have lost it to Finn at the SummerSlam, so you can build a story of Finn being world champion and his boy having the Money in the Bank contract. And Hunter went with the serve because the problem is that we had that 2-month feud, and then we had the 2-month feud of Shinsuke saying, I'm coming for you, Seth, because I know about your back. I'm going to weaken you. And it makes me feel like logically Drew, if you ever looked at Drew McIntyre, is built like a Scottish god, should be able to break Rollins like a Kit Kat bar. If he's so injured, he's amounting being the workhorse champion, and he's going to find a way to win. And it's just going to delay Drew possibly doing it, or maybe not doing it. If we're going to have Gunther get the title off of Seth or Cody, if they're like, oh, we're not going to do Roman and Cody for whatever reason. So my heart tells me Steph's going to win. My brain tells me that Steph's going to win. My spirit's saying give it to Drew just so we can be done with him. We get Steph time off him back in Rumble. But yeah, that's my prediction. I don't like it, because I'd just rather give it to Drew so we can get something between Drew and Jey Uso. Because wouldn't that be a tantalizing story to you? Because the last couple of weeks or month has been like, Drew's like, screw Jey Uso, I hate him. And now he gets the title, and Jay's like, well, they call me main event Jey Uso for a reason, and you hold the main event belt. Let's just settle this one for all for the title. And of course, Jay's not going to win because Jey and Jimmy's going to be what happens at WrestleMania. I'm almost certain, but I still want to see it. And then the presumptive main event, Roman Reigns versus LA Knight. LA Knight, we've talked about briefly. He's a fan favorite to the crowd. Not necessarily my favorite. He's a callback, his wrestling skills. He has some stuff in the bag, as the kids say, but it's kind of one of those things that Roman needs and the Universal title needs, and even LA Knight needs, where it's not going to be a 3-month feud. My paralegal hates it, but I'm like, dude, it's 1 month. You've had those kind of feuds, but it could be engaging. It's going to be a good shot in the arm to allow to see if Knight can work in the main event level. It gives Roman someone to do that's not a repeat, because how many times do we have Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, right? Several times. How many times do we have him and Jimmy, even though it took some time? Or I'm sorry, Jay, even though it took some time. It's going to be one of those things where Roman's definitely winning, but it's going to be clean. And I think that's going to piss people off, because the running narrative that they had for so long is that Roman needs people health. And if you want to keep him fresh going into Mania when he's going to lose Cody, the time is now to switch it up, where Roman gets arrogant and says, you know what? I beat him without your help, Jimmy. I beat him without your help, Solo. So what do I need you guys for? He doesn't break up the bloodline, but then he gets too cocky. And then because this is world building, this is storytelling, get him onto the streak where he could just beat dudes, without needing that interference. And then when it comes to Cody and he's saying, I don't need y'all, and Cody's about to beat him, and then Roman's going to go ask for help from Jimmy and ask help from Solo. They're like, nah, you got on your own. That's fine. And they leave him hanging, and then he loses. And so it keeps Cody's win clean, right? It has Roman properly passing the torch, and also properly breaks up the bloodline, which they thought they were doing before, which they essentially did to a degree, which didn't work out, right? But now you do it because you don't know, you want to do it solo, you do it solo, bud, and you bail out. The match should be fine. We'll see how it happens. It's really going to be a match that is based off the energy of the crowd, and that's how great wrestling can be. You can have an average match, but if the crowd is into it, it can elevate it. So the card is good. I am invested in the matches. It's the timing, man. Like 1 o'clock is so weird because I run errands. I'm at the gym. I'm going to try to see.
Well, it's in Saudi Arabia, right? So it's
yes. Yeah. But
so
even for me, I'm like, I could just watch it like Sunday when I'm home, or I can watch it Monday instead of Monday Night Football, and I'll just avoid Twitter for 2 days, which is boring sometimes because I think in my mental state right now is everything is like, well, I need a quick hit of any kind of humor or news or deals and everything, but I can suffer for you guys. And that's all I got for you this week, Evan Cage.
Okay. Yeah, and it's a 7-hour difference. That's at 8 o'clock their time, so there you go. Okay, well, think that's it for both of us. I think the World Series is still nothing
Dios míos.
in the sixth inning. I didn't realize that the NBA has this thing on their app called Crunch Time, which is, I guess, their equivalent of Red Zone. And I think I might be into that because it allows me, just like with Red Zone, you don't have to be fully invested in the game. You just see the most interesting parts. Because I was looking for the Heat score. And
right, 98, 94.
Yeah, that's what's going on right now. So, they're playing Brooklyn here in Miami. Yeah, it's interesting. It's going from game to game here. I might look into that. I think the NHL should do that too. To be honest, every league should do that. To be honest,
I would probably do that for hockey because it allows me to get more variety instead of what I'm bound to here.
Yeah, but even then, I think with hockey, it has to work like the NBA. It's okay. We're within the last 2-3 minutes of X game, right? And
holy crap! I look at the stats. Celtics are beating the Pacers 153-102, and I understand the Pacers are crap by default.
Holy,
but that is a high score.
That is insane. Okay,
like I better see somebody having a 70.
I want to see some stats. 1 second. Now that you told that,
yeah,
the end
I'm
of the
with
show,
you.
It doesn't matter. Let's see. Tatum has dropped 30. Brown has dropped 16. Porzingis got 13. Drew Holiday's got 15, and White's got 18, and the bench players, Hauser's got 17, Al Horford's got 5, Pritchard's got 15, then Brissett's 3. I mean, at this point, they're putting in all the bench players. Another guy with 11, 2, 4, 3. Yeah, there you go.
Jesus Christ, man. And I understand it's just a game, but that's not you don't get like the max you get sometimes like 120 in a game.
And
you're basically playing an extra quarter in that stat padding.
Indy's, I mean, what happened to Indy? Hold on. Let's see. I'm trying to see their box score. One second. I mean, let's see. McConnell's got 18. That's their highest score so far. And yeah, okay. I don't know. Well, bad night for Indy. Okay.
The Trailblazers won a game. I'll never forgive you, Detroit Pistons.
Okay, everybody. I think that's it for us. Bye-bye.
Go fuck yourself, Joe Cronin. 16.
Oh yeah, the tally at the end is actually that's 15. Charles, you got 15, and I got 11. I've kept it.
Well, he can go fuck himself twice.
There's the 16. All right, bye everybody.
Take care.